drama. I whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I whip that beat out like Michael Obama.
We already have it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me.
No.
And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip them thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step back me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clit, bitch. I'm like a
Layla hates her hotties. Oh yeah, Layla, she hates her hotties. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she hates the hotties. Oh yeah. She hates the hotties.
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguist good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically good guys. Conspiracy, sex, clones, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguist good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically good guys. Conspiracy, sex, clones, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys.
Brap, brap. Big up yourself. Welcome back to another episode of the Secret Society of Good Guys. As always, we are your good guys, and we are joined tonight by Jules from the Greypilled Podcast. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe if you're early here, or hit the bell so you get notified next time. So, welcome, Jules. How are you?
What's going on, Chaney? It's good
What
to see
up,
you
what
guys.
up, what up?
Layla, Abbie, Thomas.
Olivia's not coming to hang
How
out.
you doing?
She's we have family in town, and so we've been with my nephews all day and my daughter, and so she's in the house right now, but she may come out and hang out for a little bit. I told her she's more than welcome. But
Oh,
no,
cool.
I'm doing good. It's getting hot in Mississippi, so being in this garage is going to be very terrible soon. I'm loathing it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
how are you guys?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, what's new, good guys? Well, one thing that's new is Abby has the best body in Oklahoma. I don't know if you know anything about that.
That's what's up.
She won,
Did you win
of course.
Miss Oklahoma?
No, Miss Oklahoma's next month, but I'm not competing in that one. I did Battle of the Bodies. I won the Battle of the Bodies. So
Heck yeah.
Congrats.
but really the Oklahoma is just another show. It's just you get the title if you win that one. But I don't have to win that one. I just had to win a show so I could compete at a national show.
Nice.
Heck yeah, look at that.
How many bodies did you battle?
You're killing.
There was 4. There was just 4 of us. But they were 20-year-olds and I'm not 20.
Get it, girl. Get it, girl.
RGZ? It's good to see you, homie.
Yeah. So
That's incredible, Abby. That is so incredible.
yep, this is just the beginning of Abby's journey. So you guys were all worried that Abby got gordoed, and really, she was just doing this. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Step
stuff.
one.
Getting gordoed. What would that verb be?
That's what that
Well,
entails.
every once in a while I see it in the audience, and
I
you
saw it in
know,
the comments when I rewatched.
yeah, every once in
Yeah.
a while I see it, and so it's just like you used
Did
to
Abby
be
get
here, and
gorgeous?
now you're gone.
So, Abby, does this push you even harder and make you want to compete even more now that you've like reached the goal that you decided that you were going to reach?
I mean, it should. Like, I should be back on my diet. I was supposed to be the next day. And I'm not. But see, I
It's
know my
okay.
body so well now that I know that, okay, I got 11 weeks. Doesn't matter if I gain 10 pounds in like 3 days, I will lose it plus some for the next show. Like, I'll be that ready. So I'm not overly worried. That's why I haven't really pushed myself. But no, but my head has gone to in this weird spiral now, because now I'm like, okay, next level. I know how hard a national show is. Like, now I'm worried about my waist being too thick and my glutes not being big enough. So it's like, it's so silly, but like, it's
So
just
you're
a
going
whole
to
other
put your
level of
mind
body
to it, and
dysmorphia.
you know you're going to do it because you did
Yeah.
this. So
Well, that's
I have to
awesome.
go to New
incredible.
York by myself. Like, nobody's gonna go with me. So it's on 4th of July, literally on the 4th. So
Well, you're way more jacked than me. So
I
props
would
to
say
you.
I'm way more jacked than most people. I'm
Yeah.
like part of the 1%.
I
Yeah.
started working
Yeah.
out again. I quit drinking 2 weeks ago, guys.
Oh,
So
good.
me and Olivia both.
Oh, congratulations. Well,
Yeah.
we're the perfect little nerds to come hang out with on your sobriety adventure.
Yeah, well, I'm not like totally sober.
Yeah, let's not get great. We're not talking totally sober. We're just talking certain kind of
Sometimes.
sober.
Well, we're
no
all
alcohol.
stoned out of our
I haven't
gourd
drank in a
half
while,
the time,
so.
except Abby. Abby's
Yeah.
a good American rearer of children, but me and Thomas and Layla are degenerate potheads.
If I was a
Yeah.
pothead, I would have
Full
like
time.
I already binge eat. I would have issues.
Overtime.
I'm pretty responsible.
Bro, I'll do a whip it right
have a
now.
lot to
If
do.
someone wants to mess around.
I love whippets. Love them.
Tom, is that Galaxy gas, dude?
Bro, we're so beyond Galaxy gas. This is just a regular ISI charger for that's been around for like, this has been in the family for generations at this point.
Would it pass down to your great grand?
My grandpa was taking whippets off this thing. Yeah.
When you're the godparent of baby Jules and baby Olivia, one day they'll get that etched. And they'll get that
They'll just
canister
get a little-
handed down.
Just a little bit. Not the whole balloon or anything.
Just a little. Yeah.
I remember the last concert that I went to. They were selling balloons in the parking lot. I think it was a Panic show, pretty sure. Yeah, I was just like, this is a terrible idea. There's fucking cops everywhere. But I don't know. No one really cared.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
don't.
though? Like nitrous would be a fun one to get away with right in front of cops, because like what, like you just let the balloon go.
There's no
What?
trace.
Like, yeah, what are you gonna test? We gonna test air?
They used to sell whippets and crackers and the balloons and everything in the porn shops in Oregon.
That's crazy.
Nice.
I've done
Did
it
they
once in
sell
my
a
life,
bunch
and I
of
was
them?
like, "Whoa, no, not for
Do you
me."
think
I
people
sat in a
use them
closet once.
for something other than
No pun intended.
whippets?
I don't think so.
Well, it
Making
was a
whipped
sex
cream.
shop.
You make whipped
So,
cream because I had a whipped
yeah.
cream maker that we'd use to instead of a cracker after a while in a balloon.
So
Okay.
Cool Whip cans or whippets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just instead of cracking it
Oh,
all the way,
it
you
is a
just
Cool
part of the
Whip.
way, where just the air comes out. That's
You'll ruin your whole can of whipped cream.
Yeah.
You will. It's terrible. Oh, I've done that to my wife before.
My girlfriend knows that if she ever gets whipped cream in a can, she just has to get two. Like she can't just get one, because she'll go to use the one, it'll just be like brrr, it'll just kind of drip out, you know.
Yeah. Thomas.
She
You're like,
knows.
what? It
She
wasn't
knows
me.
I've been in.
It wasn't me.
Wow, wow,
It
wow,
wasn't.
Yeah. Wah, wah,
It is the
wah.
wah-wah.
It wasn't me.
I feel like the hardest I ever laughed in my whole life was on Whippets, and I was staring at a girl. I don't remember this girl's name in life. I feel like she was a stripper. I don't know how we knew each other, but I feel like we went to a rave before or after, and then somewhere we were sitting in a closet, crisscross applesauce across from each other, and we both had big balloons in our laps. And I remember like inhaling all the. Now I'm feeling like I'm mixing up two separate girls. I'm glad I'm not married to either one of them. But when I remember like sitting with these balloons in our laps, and we like, like you inhale this balloon, and then I felt like in the sound of it, yeah, wop, 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 wop. I remember laughing so hard that I drool, like I was just drooling. And it was like in the idea of like having an outer body of looking at myself, laughing so hard, drooling, sitting in a closet with a random girl, that it was so absurd. The entire thing was so absurd that I was laughing at it, that I couldn't explain how absurd the laugh was. It just felt like, but that's really what I feel like Whippets is you trying to explain the absurdity of reality. And it's so funny.
Is that the one that makes you sound like deep voiced?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought that was a duster.
Yeah, computer duster gives you a deep voice.
That too, man. I've seen some people go off the deep
wouldn't
end on
know.
computer duster, man. Like ruin
That's the
their
one I
entire
did.
fucking
Yeah.
life for a
I
for a
didn't.
bottle of duster.
I don't want to sound like
I
a
guess
Wow.
because I had already done like whippets in my head. I didn't think whippets was huffing, and then so when a friend told me like let's do computer duster, I didn't think of it as huffing. I was like, okay, yeah, like
No, so see the difference on these ones is that nitrous.
We
is
grew up at a weird
actually-
time.
Well,
I just have to say.
it's actually anesthetic, and there's like hundreds of years of proof that
right.
it's not that bad. Computer duster, I think, is just displacing the oxygen in your brain, so it's not like it's a drug the same way as it is just ruining you, and like you're
So
just it feels good because you're killing brains.
So how does it affect your voice that way, though?
It freezes your vocal cords. It does something similar to helium, but helium will set your vocal cords to a different temperature, I
wild.
believe, than nitrous does.
I heard
My
the demon
brother one
voice. I
time-
was like,
That's
My brother, I saw him do helium, just puff helium, but he just took such a big drag of it, he just passed out on the ground. We were probably like 10 and 8. Like, I was like, I didn't even know you could take helium to that level.
You just
We're
have
all,
to
we're
do
all
the whole
psychonauts in
balloon.
our different ways. Some people just try the helium.
No, I feel like he tried everything as we got older in life, but it's like that helium's a gateway drug is a good t-shirt. Oh my goodness. So you guys, one of the reasons that I called this Egregores is because Jules and Abby were talking about that this week online. and I didn't know if you wanted to share with the class what you were talking about.
Yeah, well, I had went on Shane Cashman's Inverted World. That's last Sunday. Yeah, and I had been kind of looking into egregores, and I had been researching alchemy and a whole bunch of stuff that I started reading again because I had quit reading for a while and kind of just was podcasting on all of this knowledge I had accumulated. And so I started reading again, and now I'm starting to read about all this stuff, and it makes a lot of stuff I've learned about in the past make a lot more sense. But I started to have like these kind of realizations, like whenever you start to go down certain rabbit holes and start to learn certain esoteric knowledge, you start to things start to make more sense in a way. And I was reading about how the Catholic Church basically made the devil into like existence, basically made it into an egregore through like the portrayal of this red guy with a tail and horns and a pitchfork, and Abbie agreed with me to some extent. I think I don't know if it was that exact sentiment, but it was something having to do with that, right?
Yeah, well, because that's I was hardcore Christian. Like I wanted to go to like school of ministry. I would sit and watch televangelists. I'd read my Bible all the time, and so that was my background with it. And then I got into reality transurfing because I really was just struggling with like depression. I was just not happy every single day, and I was like, why is this? Why do I feel like this void? So I found reality transurfing, and it filled in so many blanks for me. And I had to find something that wouldn't compete with my religion, and it didn't. It was very scientific, but they talk about egregores as pendulums. They just keep you asleep. Like they're hypnotic, and it doesn't matter what side of the pendulum you're on. So if it could be politics, it could be religion, whatever, if you push it, it's always going to be swing back to you. You're going to get hit by it. It's going to steal your energy. It's going to put you to sleep, all of those things. But one of the biggest ones that I started recognizing was in the church. And I started going to church, like what I did every Sunday. And I'd listen to these people go, oh, the devil is doing this. The devil has tempted me. The devil. And I was like, holy shit, you guys are feeding the fucking devil. Like you are making the devil. Like the devil is not even
Creating this entity.
Pendulum, and you guys are actually causing it. You are the cause of your own destruction, but you're just giving it to this entity. And the entity now exists because of you.
And this is a universal devil thing, because we know that there's like lesser deities, these ancient entities that are, lower frequency, demons, But I think
foosball is the devil. I think.
yeah,
Big old goofball.
But this whole, just this whole idea of the red man with horns and a tail, with a pitchfork, this fear that everyone has, right? Because like there's many Satans, but like this devil, people believe it's like this one entity, and they do believe it has a lot of power. Regardless, people who believe in God, they're still fearful of this devil. And you're right, that's how it does in some way, like drain your power, your soul, or your loosh, whatever you want to call it, through fear. And it's indoctrinated most of the time. You know what I mean? Like we're taught to fear these things.
Couldn't we extend that to? Couldn't you just extend that to like the whole monotheistic God too? Yeah. That at a certain point, the main religions or even the Catholic Church was like, it's way easier and more convenient if we're just like, it's just this one bad guy and this one good guy. That's all you got to worry about are these two opposite poles.
But you got to fear the good guy too.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, you have to love and be fearful of the good guy, and then just be afraid of the bad guy.
Yeah, man. But no, it just learning more about that just kind of made me realize, and I'm still learning, like there's a lot of stuff that I'm not 100% on, but made me
And that's
realize that
not
a
to
lot
say though,
a lot of these things may be egregores.
yeah, and that's not to say though that they don't actually have power, because that's
Right.
one thing that I did like in my mistake, was that I thought that just because now that I'm seeing it that it is a egregore, that it really doesn't have power, but it still does. Like, and it affected my family like very strongly. Like, I've got to see, people do believe in it so hard. Like, there are Satanists, there are the Kabbalists, there's all those things that feed it so hard that it does have power.
Yeah, the Baphomet would be another example of what I
Yeah.
think an egregore would be. This goat man.
Pan.
These
Yeah.
composite creatures. Just before I hopped on here with y'all, I was supposed to do an episode with a buddy of mine, but he was doing a show, and the guys he was doing it with were going for a little longer. So he wasn't able to hop on. I sat there and talked about Abraxas and the Demiurge for an hour of my understanding of what it is,
Mhm.
and just how it's symbolic. It's like, is Abraxas an egregore as well, of like this Gnostic thought?
Do you ever get like an idea of an egregore essentially is if I make a servitor and it becomes a group thing, now it's an egregore. And so I always wonder sometimes if these things that are these huge ideas didn't just start out as one person's servitor. And
Right.
a lot of the times, I would say maybe a difference would be is servitors typically you lay them to rest. They only come to work for a certain amount of time. Whereas these egregores have become these blanket layovers into society that they almost are the zeitgeist. So it's just like they are feasting in an old god's way or the fallen way or Nephilim way. They're feasting on, like you're saying, the energy, the loosh. Like there has to be a currency that's more than the money. The elite, the money means nothing to. They could just turn on the printers anytime. So it is like, what is the actual thing that they thirst for? Because even in only the Zachariah Stitchin idea of Anunnaki is there that like, oh, slave race of humans that are coming for gold. But in
Right.
reality, the Anunnaki, like there wasn't a slave, like it wasn't a slave race thing. That's just the Zachariah Stitchin story. So
Right.
it's like you almost look at it in those kind of ways too of could I steal Abbie's servitor? And in the same way, could collectively we change an egregore with a 51%?
I don't
Yeah.
know if you could, because like some of like the examples that I think of egregore would be CIA, FBI, and Disney. I feel that those are also very much
Yeah.
egregores, and one of the things about egregores is that they seem multi-generational. So even if 51% people join the FBI and trying to change course, I think that since it's been in motion for so long and it's so freaking massive that
You're
it would
just leaving it
take
anyways.
but it would take more than just having a lion's share of it. It would take like time. Like you'd have to seed it almost like Fabian Society style, where you train your kids and they train their kids to all attack this egregore and all do a 51% attack. And if you can do it for long enough, then maybe you can change the course of it. Like Rome, right? The Roman government is kind of an egregore too, where like we're still living through the ghost of it, and all these major civilizations are trying to like revisit that glory because it still kind of exists like a template that you can get swept up in. And I don't think that 51% of people could change, say, like the Roman Empire's ghost, but over a long enough time period you can. It's kind of what like the Catholic Church did, right? Like they actually changed and shaped and directed like this huge egregore that had been in construction for centuries.
Yeah, and there's that idea that when the egregore is kind of, you could say it was taken out or destroyed, these civilizations would fall, right? Because these egregores exist. In order to exist here, they have to exist in the astral and the celestial realms as well. It's the idea in some of these
Or
teachings.
if you want to put it in like science terms, the quantum field. So
Right.
And
Right.
I just say that because, like, just for anybody out here who's not woo-woo and doesn't like those other words, like the quantum field, there you go. But it's all the same.
Yeah.
But
No, it's all
they
linked.
actually become independent energetic structures, and that's the issue, is that, like, it's no longer dependent on it's just dependent on the group think, really, and that's it. Otherwise, it's like it becomes its own entity, just without a body.
Why do you
Yeah.
think
Non-physical.
these egregores become, besides the fact that, some groups decide to like use these egregores for control, but like let's think of like the first egregore ever, whatever that may be. Like, is it just ideas that they're thinking of, or is it dreams that they're seeing these things in, or is it hallucinations, or are they taking shrooms and they're not realizing? Like how are
You're right.
these ideas of these beings coming to be? Because imaginations and dream realm, or that flow state, or whatever, the quantum field is multi-layered, and like the whole idea of like the OA of it all, and like having the many versions of it, it's just like, where did they come from? Like, it's like it goes back to the quantum. Maybe it's something that we're trying to understand, or maybe they've learned what fear is and
Like
what
the
that frequency.
interstellar. Like the million strings you could pull, the million harp strings. But it's like, let's say I'm in the interstellar quantum of it all and pulling the string to make your watch ticker move. What's the chance Layla's looking at her watch ticker? And so in the quantum of it all, it seems like the simplicity would be some of the hard part. I'm like, what were you going to say, Abby? I feel like I interrupted you.
I don't know. I lost it.
Damn it all.
I've
I'll get
interrupted
better about that with you
probably every single
specifically.
one of y'all.
Well,
But
Abby,
yeah.
her learning style, she like I just respect Abby's learning style, so I want to let her go, and she's gonna say it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm what's it called? Auditory digital, so I have to like
Me
say
too.
things out loud, or like I'll
It'll-
repeat conversations out loud. If I want to remember it, I gotta speak it.
No, but that's what I was gonna say. That when Thomas is like, the Disney or the FBI could be an egregore, and that becomes a thing, and like changing the culture of something is impossible. It's like something that Abby, you remembered.
I did, because that's what I was gonna say. Is like, where did it come from? It exists in every part of nature, though, not just humans. So, like, just look at a school of fish. Like, there's a school of fish. There's not one fish that's the leader. When they all turn at the same time, they do it at the exact same time. So it's group think. And the same thing with birds. When you see the birds doing the crazy like patterns and swirls in the air, not one bird is the leader. They all do it at the same time.
Right, or like a pack of dogs would be another
Yes.
example of that. And
Yeah.
in like some old Rosicrucian texts, there's an interesting thing where they describe that animal consciousness is lower in like the hierarchy to human consciousness, and it's not like in a superior or inferior way, but it's that in certain types of animal consciousness, you no longer have an individual bird or an individual fish doesn't have its own individual consciousness. It only has that group consciousness. And then if they break up and you turn into like, Nemo or something, now you've got individual consciousness again. But the second that you run into another group of fish, another school, it like melds into that. Like it is not like they have the ability to think for themselves because their consciousness is part of the whole. It's not them cooperating with other consciousnesses. I don't know. It was a weird concept, but I always think back to that same exact thing when someone brings up a school of fish or a pack of dogs.
Yeah,
that's why I wonder about the 51%. Is there some kind of tipping point that the egregore changes because it is groupthink? And so it's like different where you're like, you can't change Disney or the FBI, but there's like a difference between the culture of something from the inside and the egregore of it from the outside, of like what's really happening internally and what the perception is. And I feel like if the perception is everything, then it's like it almost makes me feel like Disney is an umbrella corp of egregores. Like they themselves are one, and then they're in control of a
yeah.
Well, they probably realize there's a certain level, like a breaking point you get to when it's time to make a second egregore, as opposed to like trying to make the first one bigger and bigger. And like the egregores aren't something like in a physical reality, but sometimes when you say like, oh, if we did a 51%, for example, it's almost like if I fill this cup up and the liquid inside's like, maybe if we get all the way to the top, we can change the cup that we're in. And it's like, no, there's just more of you in there. Like the cup is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually that's the one thing that they teach in reality transurfing is that the only way to defeat a pendulum is to not give it your energy. So it's literally like, so laughter is one, like not to take it serious, like reduce importance, and then like awareness that it is one, and then not to feed it your energy. Like, so that means
don't
your
fear it.
direction. You can't fight it, because if you fight it, you feed it your energy. If you support it, you feed it your energy. So those are both like no-win situations. So the only way is to absolutely just pretend like it doesn't exist, or like to mock it.
Yeah, ridicule is a great example. I think that if 51% start ridiculing an egregore, like if we all just make fun of Disney for the next few generations, like that would change course a little bit. That would hurt it.
Yeah. And Abby, I think you were talking about nature. The best, like a good example of like an egregore in nature would be that of the Green Man, right? Which goes, there's a Green Man in every ancient culture. But
Like the blue
yeah.
man? I was like, I know there's a bunch of blue men, but like tell me more about the Green Man, because I'm
Wait,
Green Man group.
before you get to the Green Man, were you going to say something, Layla?
Yeah, Layla, sorry if I interrupted.
Oh, it's okay. I was gonna say, can prophecy, like the idea of the whole prophecy of things, or like everyone having a prophecy for their fate or whatever, if people believe in the prophecy of this or that, or let's say I have my own prophecy, or A, B, and C, or you all have your own prophecy, if you show that prophecy to anyone, do you make that prophecy come true? Or if you keep it to yourself, even though you were giving a prophecy, like in that show, Chaos, like, does that become non-existent if you tell people, no, I don't have a prophecy, I was never given one? Does that prophecy, even though it exists to you, but not share it, is that the same idea, like prophecy and egregore, and like the belief of something happening?
Yeah,
I
it would
think-
just
Yeah.
be a collective, and it would
I
become
think it
more
could be an idea.
powerful.
including people in your
Yeah, even
you
like the
will
two
help
in
it
my
to
name, it
happen.
shall be.
Yeah.
Like this idea of your mustard seed. If your little kid believes something I say, let's say I'm a little kid, I just make up my thing, my superpower, my invisible friend, my whatever. It's almost like the creator of the cult is never the one that creates the sway. It's the first follower.
Yeah.
Once you like get one follower, now that idea is almost in the Christian way of two in my name it shall be. It's just you've created the thing and now it's a reality. It's no longer just me with my kooky cocky ideas. Now we got something. And so
What's the difference
Yeah.
between a cult with one member and just like a toxic friendship?
I'm just the crazy person dancing at a rave. And then Layla joins me. A few songs later, and one of maybe two yoga studio visits, I'm telling you, we got something.
We should all get caught.
Yeah.
And I've already like part of the reason that thank you guys all. If you are out there, make sure you hit the like and subscribe or any of the bells if you're
What's up, Real
this
Rye?
early. Make
up,
sure you
bro?
follow everyone on the stage where especially X. I feel like this is everybody's X name except for Layla, who should have it be her X name because she has a new X because she gets taken down off X all the time, and it'd be easier for you all to find her if she had her name be her X handle. But Thomas has where you can find
yeah.
him. So do make sure you hit all
This
of those things. And
this is a future project that's doing well. I don't want to say much, but I can't say much, but oh my god. If this happens, mwah, chef's kiss. That's all.
yeah, and if it was Layla's handle, you could find her X and then you could see all this other rad stuff and find the whole project. That's what I think. Or both.
Yeah.
You can make it long and fill up the whole thing. Anyway, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow everyone on the stage. And thank you guys for showing up. We love you so much. And
We do.
you are your energy is felt So for whatever egregore this secret
Thanks for
society of
feeding
good
it.
guy is,
We
yeah,
said
thank you
we
for
said egregore like
feeding the vibe.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the whole positive side of things, like Zeralath brought it up, but it was also brought up in the X chat that we were in. But we talked about before the guardian angel and how it's more along the lines of a servitor. But if you empower your guardian angel, like give him a name or ask him his name or her name, whatever, and then actually like anytime anything good happens to you or you're saved from trouble or you feel like you got a good parking spot or you find money on the ground or whatever, like thank your guardian angel. Or like you didn't get hit by the car that almost hit you, like thank your guardian angel. And the more that you feed that guardian angel, the more that it works in your favor. And the other thing that you can do with it is that importance, anytime you make anything super important, like the one natural law is that like nature always balances itself. So anytime you make something important, it's always taken from you. Like it has to be, because that's how nature has to balance itself. So anytime you have something really good happen, you always thank your guardian angel too. So that way you don't have excess potential. So then, and a lot of times with a normal servitor, it like they have a death date, right? Like a date that they have to go away. But a guardian angel can stay with you for life, and it totally takes the charge out of those things for you.
Can you
And it's
ask
Wow,
to be your
amazing.
guardian
so
angel supervisor?
I was gonna. This is
You want to talk to my guardian angels? They're talking to you, bud.
this is a fine line between
They're
Santeria.
real.
well, I was just gonna say, like, so tarot readers, when they're hey spirit, blah 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 blah, you guys cannot sit there and say, like, when they're asking hey spirit, it's like somebody like their guardian, their whoever they're communicate to is probably a real thing that they really connect to, and it's probably in a quantum field that we really don't understand. It's a vibration. Everyone can tune into a different tune, and it's
Did
like
it
infinite.
exist before?
Yeah, and
Like
it's
not
all in
their thought.
existence.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
everything
there
that is
are
to
some
exist
energies like that
exists.
that existed before us and aren't a thought form. Every egregore is a thought form, but not every thought form is an egregore, right?
Yeah.
But the green man representing like fertility, nature, regeneration. You got Osiris, Ptah. You got well, I mean, I can name off. Someone in the chat said Yoda. And yeah, actually, Yoda is a representation of that rebirth.
Well, don't you
And
think sometimes like Hollywood, like they might want to take a powerful idea or egregore and then rewrite it and take out like the
Hulk,
juice slowly?
Shrek, the Grinch, Kermit, Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, Peter Pan, Gumby, Robin Hood,
Oscar the
Shit.
Grouch.
The Mask. Jim Carrey is like the Green Man. I think Donuts talked about
Yeah.
this a bunch. Jim Carrey is like the Green
Holy
Man.
damn, I forgot.
Yeah. It's a very interesting topic. It's some stuff
Kim
I've been diving
Possible.
into. Thomas, I've been
Arch
talking
enemy.
to you about this, but I don't think you've been listening.
I think Robin Hood's my favorite version of that too, because he's literally a guy that lives in nature and like restores balance where humanity has come in and try to develop around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you gone hard
Why
into?
is it a green man?
Sorry, you go, Layla.
Shouldn't it be green woman when it's like Mother Nature?
Well,
Is
I
that the
think there may
imbalance that they're
be
trying to
some
rewrite?
archetypes, or like that Green Man archetype may pertain to some females as well. I haven't looked into that, but that would be. And I'm sure you're right.
They were burned as witches.
That's part of the
That's
thing
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
green
Like
man.
Chaney
Green
said it.
man,
Maybe that's
green
something
man.
that they're changing.
It's like Great Pyramid.
And
Great
it was
Pyramid,
probably
Great
Let me look
Pyramid.
this up.
like
Is there like
in
a green woman?
what is it called? That movie
Wouldn't that would be
Fiona?
where the mountain turns into
Shrek's wife.
It's usually the
a woman?
consort, right?
Fiona.
The Green Man would go back to like
Alive.
Ball Hammond, right? So then the consort of Ball
Mhm.
Hammond would be the all-seeing eye chick. The
Green giant.
oh, what the
Ho, ho,
hell's her
ho.
name, man? I'm like blanking on the name.
Astaroth?
Poison Ivy.
That's L's.
Poison Ivy's a
wife.
great example. Yeah.
What's that girl from Kim Possible? The one with the green. I forgot her name.
Mm. I don't know. But it is curious to me.
I don't
It even makes you
know.
wonder, with further back, take away film altogether, and then you're thinking of like ancient artists, and like maybe it was really important. What is it?
Yo, so okay, the wife
You can
of
share
the
your
Green
screen if
Man,
you want.
well, it's just Google.
Okay.
The counterpart, I just had to type in something kind of specific, but the counterpart of the Green Man, have y'all seen Midsummer, right?
Yes.
The chick becomes the May Queen.
Oh yeah.
The chick that Florence Pugh has to play.
And this is
that's his
everything.
wife,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, that's his wife, basically. For that year until the next season.
Would another example maybe be, on Game of Thrones, how there's like the whole tree people, like the wood
Black
people in Game
Madonna.
of Thrones?
It says the Black Madonna has a sacred marriage with the Black Madonna, maybe.
Oh, well, the Black Madonna's on P. Diddy's back. That's his tattoo.
That's wild. I believe it.
That's a whole
Disgraceful.
That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different one.
This is just the internet interpretation, but that is interesting about the
Okay,
May-
here's a
May
Disney.
Queen, or the
So
flower girl.
think of Disney and how we all came up in our lore of the princess and the evil villain, the princess and the witch. And then think of now how Disney's changed the egregore of all of those ladies. So now you have Maleficent, and now there's a show Cruella, and now it's like they've made to be the hero of all of these things. So a new generation, they're always going to come up thinking like, oh, the witch is the good guy eventually. Corella's the good guy eventually.
Subverting it. Yeah.
I'm waiting for
Because,
Scar. Like I know Scar was the good lion. He was the rightful heir. He was literally the
Didn't
rightful
they-
heir.
He was the
He
rightful heir.
was.
Didn't they make a movie or something saying like or showing the whole side of Scar or something like that
There was
coming
a
out?
Mufasa movie that
And
just
that
came
like he's the rightful that he's the rightful king and that he should be the king and that
I
the
kinda
one who
feel that-
died somehow took
Well,
it from him.
they repaint Scar a little bit the same way that we were just talking about. Cruella's now a good guy, and like all these other characters, like Maleficent, which they're all just misunderstood. And I kind of think it's almost like a Common Core Disney. It's meant to separate kids from their parents so that the parents are like, no, what are you talking about? Cruella was horrible. She was killing dogs and turning
She
them
was
into goats.
skinning
But the
them.
kid is
Yeah.
like, no, mom, you're so wrong. I'm so much smarter than you because
She was
the new version of
misunderstood.
Disney says that it's this way. And it's really just meant to kind of
This is her
put
She was
story.
misunderstood.
separation.
Yeah.
This is why she's crazy. She was this and that.
It was the world. The
Blah, blah, blah.
world did it to her,
Sure.
mom. She was justified.
All right. Let me pull this up real quick.
We're so privileged
And
in
then-
this country.
Bikinis. There's the green women right there.
Oh.
She has a fucking camel toe.
Yeah, well, because they're naked. But you're supposed to put them all over your house for like before you dream.
I like how
in all
Abby
your
just
windows and
said, well,
doorways.
she's naked, but I mean, that's a moose knuckle.
That is. She's got a big old fat vagina.
Abby's just like, well, she's naked, big fucking hoop. And I'm like, well, I mean,
Well, when you're like naked around like 100 women all
Fat
getting spray
pussy.
tans and cooling in front of a fan, you see a lot of weird vaginas.
Oh, man.
They're all different.
yeah, it's like a fingerprint, but we don't show that guys that fingerprint test.
No.
That's going to be my art gallery, though. After I'm a crypto billionaire, I'm going to open up an art gallery with ladies paint with their different. Oh, I'm
You're gonna
back.
do that?
It's harder to say now that I'm on screen large.
What are they going to paint with, Chaney?
I'm just going to make them stamp, like squat and stamp, and then I'm going to
Sounds
put
like
it.
like a modern art degree.
What are you going to
Yeah.
name it?
Let me think. Oh my gosh, I'll come up with a name before the end of the show.
There you go.
It'll be in the back of
Tramp
my
stamp.
little weird autistic. Tramp stamp's kind of good. I'm like snail trail gallery.
Oh.
No, too nasty. Too nasty.
Oh man, that may be a little too
That
nasty.
sounds more like people are talking.
Never for this show.
Snail trail. I've never heard that before. That's funny.
I did, but I thought that was like
I
pre-cum.
know exactly what you're talking about. That's terrible. Oh man.
Well, good for you. Good for Olivia, I should say.
Oh man.
Anyways, yeah, so I wasn't it's this late at night, Abby. I didn't know you were gonna show me green ladies' vaginas.
Why
Sorry.
not?
The green lady. Well, and then if you've seen Moana, you got the green lady, the island. She's the shape of the
yeah.
island, and at the end, she wakes up
Yeah, I was trying to figure out her
Tahiti.
name. I forgot her name.
very
There
close
you
to
go.
Tahuti.
With the green heart.
Yeah, the green heart of it's Tafiti, I think. I don't know. My daughter's I can't watch that movie anymore.
Something like that. I love
No,
that
it's a great movie. I've just seen it so many times. Yeah, we
Mhm.
have to move on to different movies. She loves the Tinkerbell movies. The Tinkerbell, that right there, there's another
Oh,
green
true.
And you already
green
said
woman.
Peter Pan?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think Peter Pan, it's so funny that him and Robin Hood always have the same outfit. I'm like, what tribe are they from? Why is nobody
Shit.
else asking this question? What secret society are
Yo.
they in?
I never
What is
thought about that.
Yeah,
The
and if you look
Nephilim.
who else looks like that little sprout with the green giant on the ho ho ho. Why are they all wearing that hat? What is that
Yeah.
hat? Someone in our chat will be like, that's the hat of a messenger. Or if you
Are
look at
they like
Mercury, that'll be the hat that
the Knight
Mercury wears.
Templar or like the Hermetic Order of Disney or something?
Yeah, it must be something with that little pan
The
hat with the
green
feather,
hat.
and then like stick a feather in it, like Yankee Doodle Dandy. Like you're pretty much just calling somebody a little fag. Like stick a feather in my hat
Yeah.
and call myself a faggot. Like
They
that's
escape Pleasure Island.
that's what I wonder too. So it's like, okay, we have these egregores, we have these different things, these different energies, even space, like the idea of space. And so you have Disney, and then you have all of NASA then recreating this idea. But when you can kind of pull it into real life in like film, going on a ride at a theme park, think of how even more so, like now you're playing with their other energies as far as this is concerned. So it almost makes you feel like, but then somewhere they couldn't come out and tell us the name. So if in that way of like Layla was talking about earlier, like if there was deities that wanted to loose you these, whatever kind of energies, then they'd also just get the loosh off any green man. Like telling the story again off any green man. So it's
Yeah.
like, so is there like just the color he owns, the green man, you own that thing. You get all the energy from that thing. Or, because it also makes me go back to during lockdowns, they were pulling down the statues everywhere. And all the statues that were in certain places, we were made to think these are all Confederate statues that were built about slave owners. But really, when you look up some of the ones that are built, especially one that was in Frisco, where you just look up this whole false flag stabbing that's going on, trying to create a race war.
We need to talk
So-
about that.
So
because
Frisco was one of the
I'm right there
towns
with
that,
you on that.
yeah, like it was one of the towns that had one of these statues
What's
pulled down.
that?
And if you look up the statue, I'll actually look it up. I was like, and if you look up the statue, oh wait, that's me.
Have you seen
it's-
this little rally that's
stabbing.
going on?
It's a big angel. Like remember during lockdowns how they pulled down all the statues, and then they pulled down a whole bunch of them, and they said these are all Confederate statues. And well, one of them that was pulled down was in Frisco. So I'll find it in a minute. But the other thing about this is if you look up the list of future 15-minute cities, Frisco is one of them. So it's just like sometimes it's a flood, sometimes it's a fire, sometimes it's a false flag, and people need to stop taking the bait of this Kyle Rittenhouse, George Floyd bullshit, and then picking a side. And literally, like we're saying, if there's these deities that survive on this kind of loosh or energy, then what are you doing arguing in a room about something that's a complete
Israel and
fabricated-
Palestine. Why?
Yes, it's
That's- Israel is an
like
egregore
100
by
year
this point.
fucking psyop.
They
Yes.
both are.
Israel is an egregore by this point. So yeah, Palestine too.
Is
Yeah, it's
George
wild.
Floyd an egregore?
I think so.
Damn right.
I think so.
Now he is. He's like, I'm still here.
Is he the first chopped and screwed egregore in history?
Well, speaking of that, just because it involves the police, did you guys see that, like the whole capital punishment thing that Trump's putting through and everything? When part of it was that, and I did read it, it's on whitehouse.gov, that he wants capital punishment for killing a police officer. I was like, I'm not okay with that, because sometimes, like, if I saw a George Floyd motherfucker shit happening,
Yeah.
I would kill that police officer.
Yeah, I do. Well,
so
I'm like
much about
iffy
that.
about the this other one that passed about like men beating on women, or if you hit a woman, you get a felony charge now. That's another one that
Where?
passed. Or part of that.
Where did it pass? Because
I
that's the other
think
thing too. It's
I
like
saw a clip of it.
we
Yeah.
are 50 separate places to live, and
Yeah.
all the counties have different laws. It'll be like some schmo county and some schmo place or some schmo country that it's like, and it'll be like this law passed, and then people will be fighting online about shit that never even happened in the place that concerns them at all.
Yeah.
But they don't know their own state constitution or their own laws or their own anything. So they're just like, oh, I'm ignited. Like, I don't know.
What do you think about this rally happening? Do you think it's like a J6 op?
I think all the George Floyd, I think the entire Kyle Rittenhouse
There's
thing.
like a
the en-
rally happening behind the Austin Metcalf stuff like tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm saying all of these, what they do is the same as January 6th. They have a few rabble rousers. You only need a couple of, you only need one sheepdog to make all the fish swarm in a different direction. And so the goal is of these agent provocateurs is to go in and create the energy of the egregore and then get the school of fish to follow them insurrection. So whatever it is, whether it's Seattle in the 90s or whether it's Washington, D.C. on January 6th, your whole goal as a human is to not go with the group think. And it's like you almost need to treat ideas like there's drones that can see the heat on the idea. And especially when it's in a crowded place like that, where it's just like amplified, they want something to happen. They want there to be in a fight for an excuse for control. And so I don't think necessarily everything has to be planned where all 5 of us could go and everyone could be like, oh my gosh, I know the 5 of them. Yeah, but we don't know that only 5. Everyone's like, it takes so many people to throw a sports game. No, it needs one referee. And so that's how I feel about a false flag. It's like, it doesn't take a whole bunch of people to get all the birds to follow me. And so I just feel like that about this and anything that looks like this. If Fox News and CNN and all the mainstream media, and now I think people should be just as weary of influenza influencers spreading viral things that happen really quick, because if they are trying to put you in a place that you're in harm's way. And it's just so easy to stay out of harm's way, or just so easy to just not, if you know the people that are involved in creating whatever rally, we don't want our kids to wear masks or get vaccinated or go with the trans agenda or get treated this kind of, whatever rally you go to, and you know the organizers of that thing, go to that thing, fight for your fucking state, your county, your town, your school. I don't know if you send your kids to school. If you sent your kids to school, fight for the education that they're getting. I don't know what you're up to, but like, I think all the places that we live become their own egregores. And it's so fucking important that you take an active role in that place, or all of a sudden you wake up and it's a whole different culture than, it's completely gone.
That egregore is destroyed, right?
Yeah. Destroyed. And everyone could be like, that could never happen. You guys, we're not that old, and then we're old enough. How much did you watch everywhere around you change and then whiplash back? We've been talking about these polarities and the swing. How much we've watched everything go from like complete fucking Dionysus festival, swing all the way back to fucking Handmaid's Tale, fly all the way this way into fucking kooky cocky land where we're going to talk about pyramids and planets and other light years away. We're going to swing all the way back. It's like they have a swinging on a pendulum that's in so many fucking directions. So we
it's
can't
not back
stop.
and forth.
yeah, we're not grounded at all. Like none of us are grounded. And so it's like they are now in complete control of changing the egregore daily instead of our cemented red brick egregores that were there, like, fucking melted into the mountain. Like our shit that's been around that our families told us for generations and generations. And the soil beneath our feet was our farm for generations and generations. We don't got that shit anymore. So now I think even our short attention span was part of their fucking. It's just getting faster in their Fibonacci. And so now we can't fucking keep up with our own reality, and they're changing it beneath our feet like literal quicksand.
I think there's a tie here too with like modern sports, because originally sports that were tied to a certain area or demographic or like a people, they could act as these like regional egregores that you could get
Sports
invested in and
teams
care
are
about.
egregores, Thomas.
Totally.
But then as soon as the sports teams become bonded to corporations and you can just buy the player and bring them over here, like it no longer represents the actual area. I think that's another version of what you're talking about, where now you can't get grounded on these like regional egregores that you can relate to because they're not owned by you or your neighbors anymore. They're owned by whoever came through and just bought them and decided they're going to be in this city now. And it disconnected people from even having any sense of ownership over that. You know what I mean? It's weird, like, because even when sports were regional, I'm sure it was just another placeholder for like Coliseum style violence, right? But the way that it's taken form now, it's like no longer serves a purpose. I think almost every egregore maybe was created or at least started as like a utility towards something. Like someone needed something to happen, and this egregore gets built around it. But then at a certain point, it like overgrows where it was meant to be. And if you don't kill it or if you don't like harness it in some way, then someone else comes in and takes it. Like Verizon just buys your egregore from you.
Or like your team gets
So
traded to
when you
another
think
city.
about it,
Tesla.
That's a great, yeah.
well, when you think about it, then nations are also egregores. They're like current and then past ones that no longer exist,
Layla,
and people talk
you're
about
right.
them, and they have their own rules, and
They,
it's the fucking same fucking thing. It's like all
they would
programmed,
have these
and it's
things
like
built
we
to
are
represent
like
them,
a
like the eagle and like all these
yeah,
composite creatures, like the
yeah,
Sumerian man bull and all that
yeah.
stuff. And those would exist somewhere else. And when they would be destroyed, then they're destroyed in each realm. And so they start to be destroyed
Yeah, and
in the
certain
physical realm.
traditions that go into the nations, and like rituals that go into the nations, and the belief systems, and it's so fucking fascinating. And when you think about it, it's like collectively it's like we're our own like fucking record player, and we're the pick that plays the record that we're in on that frequency at that certain
Yeah,
time. It's
culture is
like
like
so fucking weird, and collectively making a symphony of
culture
something.
is like something that we're all like
It's
super
weird.
proud of, especially if you're from like a rich culture. And then, but it's also a huge egregore, and it is a loosh too. So it's both. But
Yeah.
Terrence McKenna has this great talk called "Culture is Not Your Friend," and he describes it that what culture is that it creates a nice, convenient bubble that you will willingly put yourself into.
Mhm.
That corporations and governments now they can just interact with that bubble as a whole instead of having to deal with the nuances of a bunch of different individuals, which is what we were talking about before, like a J6 or like a George Floyd or any of these big movements. A lot of them, even if it's like, oh my God, it seems chaotic, there's thousands or tens of thousands of people here, it's actually easier to interact with 10,000 people as a group because it's one thing versus 10,000 individual people. So like you kind of want that chaos and like these big groups to form.
Can
Do
I
you
just
think? Go on, Layla. Abby.
President.
Go. Me and Layla
okay,
will
I just
remember.
want to say this really quick to all the audience out there who gives us a hard time for not talking about the topic or staying on topic. Y'all got to give us credit this time because we are staying on topic tonight.
Yeah,
So
we're on fire.
Yeah.
It's because Abby has calories in her body after pump. So she's keeping us on topic like a good little teacher.
Uh-huh.
Layla, go. What did you have to say?
But then think about it. Like our president, how much power we gave this individual. Like it could be any president, all the presidents that passed, every like leader, China, these kingdoms. Oh my God. It's like I don't know
Okay.
how else to explain it. They took, you know what they took away from us? Our identity to identify that we are sovereign. And that, people make fun of that idea, being a sovereign. No, we do not realize the contracts verbally, mentally, spiritually that we make constantly, and how we curse ourselves constantly on a daily basis. And this goes so deep into magic that we don't even understand, can't even fathom, because it's all energy, and we can't measure that energy of whatever this thought process connects to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I lost my
The
train of
idea
thought
of the
now. It just went
representative democracy,
blank.
though, is essentially what you're saying. Like, you're giving away your sovereignty because of
Yeah.
you're allowing other people to govern.
A ruler to rule you. You're allowing people on TV to give you
Well,
ideas
it's the
about how
same
you
as
should
Julia
feel
Roberts. That's what I
or
was going to
think.
ask you. My question thing was, we talk about like that person has an it factor and we don't know what it is. But if you're like an agent in Hollywood, or you're like, yeah, see, look at Abbie over there with her it factor. The amount of it factor somebody has is how much they could potentially control the culture. And we don't know how to explain it, but we feel it when we're around those people, or when you're in a moment in your life, you're doing the best version of yourself about the thing you know about. You can feel that flow through you, that you have that it factor in the moment. It's because you could change the culture. You could make all the fish follow you in that moment. And it's like maybe you kind of, it's like the magic thing of like the muse inspiring for the thing to happen. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
Did Puff Daddy have the it factor?
I don't know. That's where I think that if there was always this thing, and if all of our magic powers were like, let's say, we weren't just, you guys have 5 senses, and here's the only 26 symbols you're allowed to know from your alphabet, and here's how to spell, and teaching us all these things at our youngest age, then we might have really clear instruments to be able to tell this stuff about people. But because we, especially our generation, was all raised by this screen, we only know how to trust this screen for the information of creating the egregore. So everything that's created in the zeitgeist that we would consider powerful, any person, any Elon, or any, like we've created them.
And that's the thing, though, is that like most of them, like the pendulum starts swinging around them when they're different. There's something different about them, something that's flawed. Like Patricia Arquette and her little tooth, and Jennifer Grey and her big nose. Like those were things that actually set them apart and made them distinctive. And then people, like, they talked about it, like, oh my God, her nose is so big and everything. But then people loved her, like absolutely loved her. And then when she changed her look, like she was suddenly like gone. Like, who is that? That's not her.
Yeah. Like, who is that? Yeah. We missed the old version.
And so, like, if you're like, parodies will never be lit up by a pendulum, like, or by a egregore, because if you're just copying somebody else, you're not authentic. You don't have the it factor. You don't have the little flaw or whatever that gives you your unique quality.
Well, it would be like Kelly Clarkson, like entirely created by the CIA, or fucking Katy Perry. We've all been talking about Katy Perry this week. Oh my gosh, look at Katy Perry and her fake space.
You mean the astronaut?
Baby,
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like,
firework.
it would be the equivalent to me, you guys, as if you were like, oh my gosh, can you believe Tom Hanks faked to space? Like, yes, Katy Perry was in the hotel with Tom Hanks when Corona shut down. It makes me nutty. Her and Orlando Bloom were in there. She was also married to Russell Brand. What have we watched Russell Brand the last couple of months try to do with his little Christian gimmick that he's on right now? Like, and he is Get Him to the Greek. Good name for a Diddy movie. So I just like, who has like, oh, we got to get it. It should be called Dual Citizenship to Greece is what the movie should be called. Get Him to the Greek. And so I'm just like, this is Katy Perry. Like, this is Katy Perry, the same place where it's Tom Hanks plasma bag. She was in the hotel. She's there too. She's just selling this whole psyop to a different part of the world. So the idea that like even Jimmy Dore has videos coming out on YouTube this week being like, this is fake. I'm like, y'all, sometimes soft disclosure looks a little different, and it only takes one of these motherfucking things to be called out for every normie to start looking at the holes in all the things. And I just feel like this Katy Perry firework bullshit, it's like, I just feel like the retard emblem should be on the side of it. Like that we find retards, it should just be etched into the side of it. So stupid.
She had made a post where she was like, "Oh my God, I'm crying. This is my dream," and I just was like, "You're part of the deception. Which occult group are you a high priestess for? Asking for a friend?" And it got a lot of likes. So I hope you see if it reads it. Maybe she'll answer. But
It's
I know.
crazy that this is one of the projects that one of the last things I worked at when I was at Disney was this thing called Spaceport America, which is essentially what Katy Perry just went on. This is like a old idea. It's been around for a couple decades now, where it's just like they bring you up high enough that you can experience zero gravity, and you can technically say like I've been to space, but like you're not going anywhere. You're just kind of like poking through the atmosphere just for a split second, and then you come right back down. It wasn't like an 11-minute journey or something.
11 minutes. I don't know how long.
I didn't even pay attention because I knew it was a crock of shit.
I didn't even watch it
It was just
either.
a crock of
And I
shit.
saw how hard it hit the
It was
ground.
just like,
And then all these things, a bunch of fact checks on X were all like, this is all footage from the last one. Like all this fact check with computer things were going through and people were pulling all this stuff. And then I like how some really normal account, I don't even know what normal account it was that I follow, like really 3D normie account. They were like, this is a mannequin hand. Circled the
Well, then it
mannequin.
says something.
Yeah.
I guess the hatch isn't. It's not supposed to open from the inside. Somebody has to open it from the outside, and they opened it, and then somebody goes up to the window. Is like, you're not supposed to open the door.
You know, a fun Katy Perry conspiracy that I don't necessarily believe in because I'm shout out to my girl HV. I get down with her John Benet Ramsey theory the most. But you guys heard that Katy Perry's John Benet Ramsey too?
yes, I would be inclined to believe it.
That's
honest
where I can
with you.
get down to that. I feel like the elite would fuck with us like this.
Absolutely. They love doing it.
mm-hmm.
The elite.
Look how fucking
Yeah, look how
stupid they
stupid
are.
they are watching John Benet
Hell.
Ramsey go to space.
I wonder which one is like little Jessica in the well or whatever.
I know. Let's see that.
Honestly, though, this whole egregore talk makes me think of the never-ending story and the whole meaning of it, and like your dreams and your thoughts,
Yeah.
and then the OA,
Yeah.
and like what I sent Abby, like this video about like the whole symbolic idea of what the octopus meant in the OA. And it was like the one thing that they warned them is to be careful of bringing your dreams into reality. Like what was it? Something like that.
She said it was that weird little doctor, and she's like, I quit because that's the one thing you're never supposed to bring things from the dream world into reality. And
Yeah.
and she
Isn't
was
that
like,
Stranger Things?
And I think
no, it's the OA.
No. I'm
no,
saying
OA.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you look at what all the
Oh,
government
yeah.
experiments were about Stranger Things, and if you even
Yeah.
look at a lot of the projects that they might call like Pegasus Project or Mars Project, or they
Yeah.
found like the adults would get fucked up, or the Philadelphia experiment, but like the adults would all get fucked up, but the kids were like better at it. And so you almost wonder if like the kids brought back pure information from wherever they were at, like they could go directly to the spot, nothing from their own life clouded their astral travel or their lucid dreaming or whatever they were doing in the float tank. But the danger with the kids is their nightmares brought back the nightmare to this reality because they believed it in a way that kids didn't. And so sometimes I think that same realm is exactly what Aleister Crowley went to, and that's where we get things like the Loch Ness Monster. Like sometimes I think there's deity, like certain things that exist in this realm that aren't supposed to be in this realm. So I don't know if they're like, this is an extinct animal, or we found these bones of this thing. It could just be like somebody is so powerful in their dream state that they actually pulled something into this existence.
I think the Loch Ness Monster is real. Absolutely.
And we're describing Freddy Krueger now too, right? That's kind of like he's just another
Love Freddy
version
Krueger.
of.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, did I not? Don't say his name. Now he's here.
No, that's Bloody Mary.
He's not real.
That's Candyman.
He's not real.
I was going to ask you about it because isn't there like a smoke energy? Like, isn't there this like black smoke energy that also exists in the same way as the Green Man? And so then you look at shows like Lost, but I also think there's like smokeless fire gets talked about. And like we get this like smoke man energy, black man, shadow man. Like
Is it
this.
Shadow Man, or are you talking about the I don't know,
Well, I
that'd
would
be
just put it all
the
together. I
jinn
feel like this like
that's
shadow
used in
energy
the Middle
of
East.
like knowing something is there is very similar. So if you were to just blanket be like everything green man, we're going to put in the same category, then would everything smoke man, black man be in the same category? And in that way, are they just like, is it like a pyramid scheme of egregores? Like, is one egregore feeding the other?
my
Does an
God.
egregore need one?
I think an egregore can create an
Dude.
egregore, yeah. I don't know.
So we're talking about how it's like in dream realm. So, you know, when you're experiencing the whole sleep paralysis of it all and you're experiencing these things, you feel as if it's like in real time, whether they're demonic or they transform into whatever type of being they transform to you after a while. Is that something about like you bringing the dream world into your reality? Does that tie that to all of this? Because you're like half asleep, they say, when you're like in sleep paralysis. Like you're half awake, half asleep, kind of, and you don't realize that you're sleeping, but your body's paralyzed. So you're like the in between in the limbo.
You've brought
So
it here a
does that
little.
somehow tie to all this?
I wonder if you're like
Yeah.
I
half
think you can
here
pull
with it.
something in. I think you can pull something in because if
Okay.
you're in the astral realm and your cord gets cut, you're cooked.
Could you
That's what
be
I'm
somebody
feeling.
else's egregore and they pull you're like, I'm so tired all of a sudden, or people with
Ooh.
narcolepsy, gotta go. Like somebody else is
Ooh.
calling you into their
Yeah.
multiverse and you can only exist in
That's
one
so
place,
cool
like
to
Disney
think about.
magic. If you think of Disney magic, and I thought of it tonight a little bit when I was doing production for something, I was like, oh, like I can't play a video of me and Thomas right now why me and Thomas are on the screen because we can't be in two places at once. It's Disney magic. It doesn't matter how fast we get to the other places or change our clothes. That's part of the magic. But we can't also be watching ourselves on screen, because there's a rule in Disney that Mickey Mouse, no matter where on the world, no matter how small the theme park or the hotel or the appearance, there's only one Mickey above ground at a time. And
But
so this would be part of the like
with as far as dreaming goes, you can exist in two places at once.
party.
Like if you perfect your
I wish
energy
I had
body.
music that just came on. If
I
that,
know, right?
let me see if I like. Hold on.
It's not, oh, there we go.
Keep trying. Let's see. Is anything good? Let's see what happens with this. Oh, nothing.
He's got a little light
I feel like
there.
I'm in like a Bollywood like script sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ay, 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 ay. You're about to do whippets in Mexico. Like, yeah.
Terrible.
Oh, wait,
All right,
stop
I don't
this
wanna
one.
get
I don't know what's
fooled.
gonna happen. Okay. Sorry for that, Abby. That was your balloons. Got my squirrel brain completely
Riggs, the
distracted.
LA Rise, or April 26, 1992. And I know because of a song by Sublime. So,
Such a good song. Such a good band.
absolutely.
Like for the good songs that band had, they didn't get any recognition for their best songs, in my opinion.
Well, because he died like right as soon as their first hit came out.
Yeah,
Bradley
well,
Cole.
like their underground stuff, like their dub stuff that they did,
Yeah,
like
it's so good.
Secondhand Smoke and Robin the Hood. That's the best Sublime, in my personal opinion.
I just gotta say, I feel that Sublime was well represented in my middle school. Like everyone had a Sublime shirt.
I had a few.
That's
My
a weird
son-
word.
My son has the one I had in high
Subliminal.
school, and he wears it.
Sublime.
I wonder where
Smoke
that
two
word
joints in
comes
the
from.
morning.
Sublime. Yeah. Pop culture and channels, or even creating like your word of whatever it is your where people are like, oh, when I listen to Jules, I always know I'm going to get this kind of thing. So like, are you constantly creating your own egregore? And then it makes me curious, like when somebody slanders somebody's name or when an idea gets slandered, like let's say we all used to love Napoleon once, and now somewhere Napoleon gets slandered. They're like, we're gonna make him extra short too. Like even like we're gonna put all this other stuff. We're gonna
Screw
say
that
he had a
guy. We're
little
taking
dick.
another foot off.
We're gonna say he
Mhm.
stunk. Like you know whatever these things are, where it's
Not
like
deep
those
in
kind of people that like powerful figures in history. But then even look at figures like Joan of Arc. Like, what's the purpose of the creation of this? Like, I don't know. Some things I just think just because people are like, these have been around for so long, like a pope.
Mhm.
Like what?
It's
A
kind of like a
cardinal.
saint in a way.
Well, you
Yeah.
were saying Abraxas earlier, so then it's like the snake representation is the same, where everybody's like, there's a great flood in every religion. There's also a great tree in every religion.
Well, the snakes, they represent the nous and the logos. And then the head of the cock or the rooster represents the intelligence. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. But
I always just think those were the
very
first two
interesting stuff.
creatures that could bring eggs. And before we were
Egg-
hunters, we were gatherers, and we would just steal eggs from serpents and birds. And so that's how we got by. And we were like, this
And if we
creature
died doing it, then we
is
died.
amazing.
So
This creature,
apparently, French egregore of etymology, the French egregore, spirit of group, and then egregos, wakeful, meaning watcher, angel, in the book of Enoch. So it's like
Oh wow.
a spirit of a group, wakeful. How is that tied to that? Spirit, okay, spirit of the group, I understand, but wakeful. So it's like pretty much anything
It's
that
awake, it's alive.
is a program to the thing that collectively we all agree on. It could be an egregore, point blank, period. A
Mhm.
theory. Gravity
Yeah.
is an egregore.
Yeah.
So it's a programming. It's indoctrination. It is literally everything that exists.
Yeah.
And is
In a
that
way, yeah.
so is that the program, the egregore? Is that the name of this game? Egregore? Egg?
But I think
And it's
Chaney
always a
was
symbol.
The egg.
Chaney had
The
a really
egg?
good way of describing
Egg.
this when we first started. That like it starts as a servitor, and a servitor is like a little tool that you make for yourself. It's almost like Solomon and his sigil and raising like the daemons from the seas and stuff. And an egregore is almost like the cloud version. It's like Solomon uploaded the daemons into the cloud, and now we're all logging in and using these daemons. And now, like that cloud, it's like Skynet. Skynet is kind of like an egregore in that way, right?
And that's what I was going to ask you next. That was my train of thought that I completely forgot when me and Abby and Layla both all spoke at the same time, is how much could AI actually start creating its own egregores that are brand new to human existence, that all of a sudden, because it has all the control collectively, it can implant the seed all at the same time, which has never been done before. Every other idea spreads like like a slow, like, like a drip. But whatever happens when it happens online, it's almost like a wildfire out of control. And so all of a sudden our minds are changed so much quicker too, like fire, instead of like drowning out something slowly. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like, and then it's like all this AI video, all these AI words. Like we are in the Running Man essentially, where they could just make a video of Abby like killing Jesse Ventura and like a
With her bare hands.
yeah, and we would all be like, "Oh my god, she could." And then you have to just know that some people trust you enough in the world to believe you over their eyes. And that becomes a whole thing, that are we as a creature, like has our eyes somehow become our biggest enemy, because now they can put anything in front of us and make us believe it, where it's like all the other senses, it's a little harder for them to fool unless they give you like a bioweapon and make you
I
lose
was
your
gonna
sense of
say
taste and smell.
When you said that, I automatically thought of Stargate and how they teleported into that realm where symbology was banned and they weren't even allowed to draw figures in the sand. To that point where they just like banned all images, all symbology, none of it was allowed.
I was thinking of Bird Box, where everybody had to wear blindfolds.
Oh yeah, because it
that
couldn't
was a
hurt
good
them if they
movie.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Like that's so interesting at all. Like they couldn't die at all if they didn't see it, and almost in that fear factor of it, it's not almost like if it's not taking it out of your eyeballs, it can't have it.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
still totally die with the blindfold, just not from the one thing.
Well, and there is that
Yeah,
theory
you could
that
go
our
down the
eyes are like
waterfall.
a portal in a way. I don't know.
That's what portals look like. They look like the iris of an eye.
Or a
Our
butthole.
biggest enemy is
I
incorporating
guess you're right.
beliefs
I
without
just always thought of it
any
as an eye.
Event Horizon. What'd
But
you
a
say,
butthole.
I
Layla,
like that
about a
MS.
butthole?
MS said
Portal,
something
like a cat
really
butthole.
nice here. No, our biggest enemy is incorporating beliefs without any proof.
I think our biggest enemy is belief in general, like because people hold so strongly to their beliefs and they don't question them. And I feel like the one thing that we should all do every single day is question something that you believe. Try to unbelieve something you believe.
Oh yeah.
But
Because
doesn't
you have no
belief
idea who
also
put it
Make
there.
yourself
direct?
uncomfortable.
But
Like some of
doesn't
the
also
bridges. Oh, go on, Layla.
doesn't belief also like direct which path you should take? Also, isn't that something like with that's connected to your senses in a way?
Yeah, but I mean, how much is conditioned though? Is that, I mean, conditioned by your parents, conditioned
All of
by,
it.
yeah, exactly. So my point is, can you let go of that and try to just disbelieve something that you hold, especially something that you hold strongly to? Like, I firmly believe in this. Why don't you look at the other side of it and just for a minute pretend like you don't have that belief and just see what you believe
Hmm.
or what you can disbelieve.
Instead of refusing to even
Yeah.
like try to understand that idea, which I will never try to understand pedophiles.
Well, no,
That's one thing.
No,
I'm just saying.
I heard it described pretty well by Leo Skeppy, like, and he was like, don't get me wrong, I think all pedophiles should like burn in hell and freaking be killed or whatever, but he did a good job of like kind of explaining where he thought it came from, and it did something to my brain, and I was like, oof, I didn't want to try to understand that, but I'm kind of glad for it at the same time.
Do you think all of original human,
kinda want that.
unless it came from this idea of like, I don't know, ancient alien tech, and we are actually created like, do you think every other one just comes from animals? And then, like Jules was saying, somewhere they take these two animals and put them together because they want both these attributes, or they put the man with the, horse because they want these two attributes. And then they start combining those things. So then they become almost like egregores of their own. Like it's almost like we came down, because even the Titans, there was these first, and then there was these lowercase gods, and then
the
there was
Olympians.
yeah, but even before that, there were the elements, the elementals. So then there was like where earth, wind, fire, water. And so it's just like curious. It
Yeah.
makes me think sometimes is the limiting belief is why we can't do most of the things. It's the even if like you can't do that, like whatever the opposite is of the egregore in your thought process, like whatever oh yeah, everything's just possible. I could totally climb that mountain. I could fly. I could run 2-minute mile. But because somebody says, no, you can't enter a bodybuilding contest after you've had 5 kids and beat out 20-year-olds. And nobody does that thing because it's not a possible thing to do. And so why on earth would I even try to do that thing? Where it's like, once we see, oh my gosh, Tony Hawk did a 900, a little 10-year-old kid doesn't have disbelief that he's going to go out to his ramp tomorrow and pull off the next level of that thing. And so I just feel like somewhere it's like a limiting belief that's stopping us. It's not that we are believing in anything. It's that we don't believe in ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
or each other for
It's like
that
the
matter.
allegory in the cave.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit.
The allegory in the cave like describes a lot of what we're talking about right
Like
now.
Plato's
It's
cave.
like either in the little like cave and that's all you know, and then go outside and see other things, but it's like it's still a program. Like it's still part of that. Like you're still in a bubble no matter what. It's all bubbles.
I have this.
People say, "Oh, look, the Matrix. They escaped the Matrix." But you can't really escape the Matrix if you're still hyper fixated on the Matrix.
Yeah, the shadows.
I love this. This is my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just going from like a smaller matrix into a bigger matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But the same rules apply. The game's just a little more complicated. But the same rules, the original rules of like, no, those are all just shadows on the wall. Maybe they won't hurt you or help you. And then once you stop focusing on the shadows on the wall, I don't know.
So wild.
It is wild, but I think it's like we always hear about like demons and trauma and all this bad stuff all the time, but in the way of like guardian angels, could maybe some of the fallen, if there's a way of like Nephilim or something like that, could some of them have just been benevolent and they aren't around humanity anymore? Or they are trapped, or they're the ones that died, or they're the ones that got slandered. Their name got slandered, so nobody worships them anymore. But they were the ones that gave us steps, and they were the ones that taught us how to hunt, and they were the ones that taught us how to, farm, and they were the ones that. But there's got to be something if you believe in this bad, like these evil these disembodied, these things are controlling. Then there has to be some of those controlling things that they were always here with us if they were here. We weren't just so I feel like some of them must have helped us, right? So
Yeah.
that would
Well,
be this guardian angel idea.
Well, if you were, let's say that you were Satan, like the actual Satan, right? Wouldn't you rather have people fearing you constantly as their way to worship you versus actually worshiping you? I feel like you would much rather just have people constantly thinking
Yeah.
of you in terms of fear and hate and not like, oh my God, I worship you. You'd be like, those would be the nerds. Those would be like the pick-me's, right? The
brown
ones that you
nosers.
don't really care about as much. So
Yeah.
like it's actually better to not have worshipers and just have people fearing you. Like that is your currency that you operate in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems crazy. Like if you could have the control of creating any kind of thought process for everybody else, but then look at lockdowns and look at how quick this whole world belief system in 2 weeks, a whole world belief system was created, so much so that you you couldn't travel, you didn't go to school, you didn't go to your job, you weren't allowed at the grocery store. So the idea that there isn't a powerful thing that can be created overnight. It's really just everyone's job to ask themselves, like, am I in the middle of groupthink? Am I group thinking right now?
Yeah.
Like
Wake
hive
up.
minded?
Yeah.
Do you know how people in like 70 years, when they read about that, they're gonna like have this idea of so much fear running through them, like, oh my God, imagine if that happens to us now and blah 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 blah. Like I could only imagine how many people are gonna believe that story, and us who actually lived it knows about the bullshit that went on, and like how that will never be printed, and that will never like try and find that information today. You won't find it about like us conspiracy theorists like going around and actually spitting the truth. After a while, those videos disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a project I'm going to work on is a fake music video called The Summer of Cove, but it's going to be like everybody with masks and jibby jabs and having
Someone just said
myocarditis, and it's going to look
COVID's
like
an
a Beach Boy.
COVID's and egregore.
Huh?
So someone just said that COVID's an egregore.
COVID's an egregore.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Everything.
become.
Lockdown.
That's what people have made it.
Well, Layla, you're totally right too, because you can go back and find footage and coverage of the 1920s where they did the exact same thing. And what was crazy is I remember seeing that come up in the 90s and early 2000s, and it was like, look at how dumb they were in the 1920s. They thought that they could just put a piece of cloth over their mouth and it would protect them from the outside world. And then 10 years go by, and then it's like right back there again. And you don't see the antis of the 1920s, because the narrative is better to be like, look at these idiots. Oh, by the way, it works. Let's go ahead and do that again.
And they do it all over again. Wash, rinse, repeat.
I don't know. Somewhere through all of this stuff, I feel like just as you heal in general, whatever that means to you, you get less emotionally attached to anything when you hear it. And you almost have to sit on it for a minute before you'll like feel a way. It's like you almost process from the top down instead of like everything doesn't go right to your heart where it gets your venom. It's like, oh, let me think about this thing for a minute. Let me talk it out with a couple other people. Before it gets to your heart chakra and then you give all this energy out to people, or it goes to your womb and now you're breeding this little fearful child. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a processing that's happening that, because really the way you fight online, it's about your upbringing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel
Like,
like
it's all
we're
your trauma and your upbringing.
desensitized to it as well. I feel like we're desensitized to a lot of this stuff. The more and more you look into stuff, especially when you go down the parapolitical kind of cult, serial killer, MK Ultra realm,
So I guess what it comes down to is this human nature just creating egregores? Is this the natural process of things that we just
I
do?
think it just happens, even if we
Is
didn't
this
know that
it?
it was happening. Like,
Well, like, do animals
Yeah.
create egregores?
That is, Thomas, I was thinking
And
the
that's
same
another
thing.
good
Do you think there's
that
a
question.
is a good
tiger
question.
egregore that they're like, oh, like a Mustafa? And
With
so
the
I'm
pride,
like, maybe it is like
tigers
we've
and pride.
figured out this special thing about humans is like maybe that is our special thing, is that we have energy to believe in something outside of what is right here, right now. It's like, is your brain racking the world trying to think of an animal that is like, no, God, the elephants believe in blank. Like, it's like, oh, the dolphins, we don't know what the dolphins and whales believe.
Okay, here's one aspect that we forget: the distraction of it all. They have us distracted, and what they have us distracted is that we are it. So, like, they want us to look so much outside of ourselves, and we forget this aspect of it. Like, we can make ourselves the egregore, but they don't want us to be the egregore. They want to keep that for themselves, the stars, the people that are written in history, whatever. But that's the key here. That's the name of the game. The egregore is you and I and all of us here, but they distract us from that. And that's why we create these egregores and give that thing the power so we don't give it to ourselves.
Because the rule of the egregore is
Because
to
we can be the
conform. So
egregore.
in order to be the top of the pyramid, or the top of your egregore, is to not conform. And then it has no choice.
Yeah.
If you stay authentic, it has no choice but to highlight you. And then it will make you an
Because that
egregore.
is the most powerful force.
So do you
Yeah.
think there is some
They say love in that.
like no false idols, like don't like destroying like Moses coming off Mount Sinai and being like, what have you done, like separate this, like get rid of all this, like no, stop with the false idol thing, like stop it. Like do you feel like there's even something of that, like where it's like, no, you guys have too many separate egregores, and in this moment I'm going to take all your egregores and we're going to put them into this one idea, and then it becomes a more powerful thing.
Absolutely.
2 egregores enter, only 1 will leave.
I know,
Yeah,
but then look at how many of those
absolutely.
kind of things we get, where you get like Minotaur and Centaur and Abraxas, and where you're like 2 things enter, and now a multi-god comes out. And you kind of even see this thing a little bit where you wonder with the like uppercase gods, like, or lowercase gods, where like Zeus and, you know, like Helena and like all these things, is that some of them have half breeds. Some of them have like mixed gods, like demigods. And so,
Demigod,
yeah. And so then you get into this whole idea of like even demi and semi, like where did it just keep peeling down in a way? And then you wonder if there was a people that was maybe called like Simmies or Seminoles. Like these are things I kind of wonder sometimes where it's like a peel away of something that was bigger. And, like even in the whole biblical idea is you are a child of the creator. You're a creature who can create. So you're a fractal of the whole. And that's kind of every religion's idea a little bit is that you're
Yeah.
a fractal of its thing.
Yeah.
We're just fucking dolls. Like we're just here. We choose to come here, live this. I don't know. I don't know. Are we souls? Is a soul souls or egregores? I mean, are souls real? Like we think that souls are real. We created a place called heaven where all the souls, the good souls rest. Like is that real?
Well, that's one idea of it. Like,
I
but
think
every religion in the Great Tree, there's also like an idea of Valhalla, or even people that have like everybody's NDE. Their religion gives them the words to describe it, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean they're all not
Absolutely.
experiencing the same thing.
yeah, it's like Shambhala
Maybe it's
too.
just
Yeah.
maybe it's just something that they create out of fear as like something to not. I don't know. I think they just create these ideas because they don't know and they fear the unknown.
Well, don't you think a lot
So
of
it's that
it, even
fear.
that the same idea, if you just knew a little, if you forgot, like if you agreed to forget and you just knew a little, even in an idea of a simulation or projection theory idea, it's the same thing. When you stop projecting into this reality, it doesn't mean that the camera isn't somewhere else or the film, reel isn't somewhere else playing. And so you are just a projection of you. And then is our belief in Layla, the egregore, make you in this reality? And
Mhm.
then so it makes me wonder if when you leave this, if you're just a person nobody knows, loves, your bloodline dies and you're gone and your name's not said in this reality anymore. There must be a power of that. And it makes me wonder if things like statues and like where they get torn down or built over or carved up, does somewhere a statue trap an energy into this realm?
Yeah.
Like it can't go out of places, and having one tore down, it's like a Horcrux. And so
Mhm.
then it's like, do Horcruxes in a way in this reality of the projection, does it become like this powerful thing of holding energies out of other places?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. There's these certain realms that it exists on, and it destroys it in each realm. And yeah, what Layla was saying, people fear what they don't know, and I think that they'll stay ignorant by doing that. That's my opinion.
So it's the idea, like I think in Spanish culture, where they say you experience three deaths, like a physical death when the body ceases to function and the life ends, the second death, the burial of cremation of the body, marking the end of its physical existence, and the third death when someone last mentions your name, signifying the end of your memory and legacy. So it's like the idea of the last person saying your name to ever exist, you cease to exist. That egregore is dead.
What
But
if
the
it's
toll
like
tags that I've
AI?
been,
What if AI says your name after you've been dead?
Uh,
but that's what I find like the Toltecs, they make a point, like the sorcerers and stuff, to delete their personal history. So every story you've ever been told about their life is like false. Like you don't really know where they came from, who their parents were, all of that. Like they burn their pictures, all of that. Like it's part of claiming your power in this world. And I think it's so you can travel between dimensions like that. I think that's probably why, but it's so you aren't anchored here, probably. Now that we're talking about this, I'm like, because I can never figure out why you have to delete your personal history, but that's probably why.
Yeah, or how certain cultures are like, don't take a picture of me.
Yeah,
Because what about if
it
you
traps your
just
soul.
die and it's in this house in a box up in an attic of a family for 200 fucking years and I can't go be with my loved ones?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the reason.
Well, I mean, just take it back to El Dia de los Muertos, where they put like the pictures of their family up on ofrendas or whatever. And if you watch that movie, what was it, Coco? And they
It's a good movie.
like they didn't put the guy's picture up on the Frenza and his like soul is gonna die up in the afterlife or whatever
Mhm.
because he wouldn't be remembered. The last person to remember him was about to die.
Yeah, his flame would go out,
Yeah.
the eternal flame, in which I think our soul comes forth from.
Reality's so marvelous. That's all I can say. I'm just in awe. Y'all, aren't y'all in awe? I'm in awe.
I
More
feel
and more
grateful a lot
so.
of the
I'm
time.
stoked.
Me too.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
more
even
and more
grateful
so.
to be able to have conversations like this and be like, I didn't see any adults that got like, I don't know. It was like growing up, you had your encyclopedia and library. And not that you couldn't find better information, but it's like the amount of information, like everybody on their search comes across all these old books and research and things. And it's not even that everyone's right or wrong, but just the ability that we are kind of at right now where uh, if you allow yourself the freedom of choice, whatever that means to you, to like your own information or take in and question your own ideas and beliefs. And, even if things make you emotional sometimes, I think like that is it's like, oh, I have to learn more about this thing. Or like, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to repeat this cycle anymore. This is a useless dance. Why?
It ends
And
here.
so
Yeah.
yeah, and so I feel like so many times in life, like even in our family structures or in our whatever numbness about our world, we're like, I have to keep putting up with this stuff, this same thing over and over again. This is as good as I'm going to be because this is what my family told me, or this is how hard I want to work, or different. And so it's just like you become feeding your lifestyle becomes its own egregore. Like,
Smokeless fire. Aren't gin smokeless fire?
yeah.
Yeah,
Are we
I had
just
mentioned
jinn
that earlier.
inhabiting or created a realm for ourselves to like I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. It's just
If
questions I
you looked at
ask.
us in heat-seeking goggles, we definitely are smokeless fire.
Yeah, we are.
Like, we emit a lot of heat. That's what I always think with their drone technology, and I always,
Mhm.
feel the need to tell people, like, if you're ever running from drones with a crowd of people, go where they don't go. Like, don't be the
Yeah.
sheep, don't be the fish, because drones see heat seek. And so I always just think, like, run away from the group. Like run wherever they run, even if you're like, I'm scared, I don't want to run in the woods alone. Run. Run into the woods alone.
Just don't run upstairs if you're in the middle of a hard movie.
Especially if it's upstairs and there's nothing there, right?
I'm that
Stairs
stupid
nowhere.
dildo
Nothing
bitch
there
where
but
if there's
death.
like a weird noise, but I feel like lesbians always die in horror movies pretty quickly. So it's like fine. It's like my role that I'm supposed to play. Like if there's a weird noise upstairs, I'll be like, I'll go look. It's not because I'm brave, it's because I almost got like my
Oh, like,
curiosity killed the cat. It's like the amount of situations I've got myself into because I'm just like, let me just peek. Like I've been in life before one time where like there was a gunshot outside and I was like, let me just peek. And I was like, oh damn, there's like women like in like half-dressed women that look like they had like thrown on jackets or like some of them didn't have clothes outside and they were standing behind the shed. And I was like, what is happening out there? Like, should I call the fuzz right now? And so then like one of the girls turned around, like my light of my like little curtain. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to be involved in that shit. But that's where I'm like, most people, they're like, don't open the window. Lay low, don't open the window. It's like sometimes I'm just like, let me just see what's
Dude,
going on.
I had a weird
Curiosity.
thought. Now hear me out.
I love
Okay.
it.
The
Let's
idea of
go.
gin and your
Layla, weird
chakras and
thought.
opening your kundalini and how demons somehow possess and how when you see these videos they sound like fucking snakes. Now what if your chakra spaces are the houses of where the different spirits rest and lay? So you have the spirit of fear, the spirit of this, the spirit of lust, the spirit of blah blah blah, the gluttony, and that's where all the houses are. Not to demonize anyone's beliefs or anything, but this is just a thought that just popped into my
Oh,
head, like boom, 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 and I was like, what if these are where they live? And what if these are the entities that sit in your driver's seat when you call upon it, when you're in that state, and that's the player that comes in that instant?
So you're talking like the 7 chakras, and like each one would have one of the 7 deadly sins or whatever, or like
Yeah, with the 7
yeah,
beasts, and it's all
or the
within us in the
7
house and the fucking church and the what's it called? The
demiurge.
temple.
All
And it's like
seven will watch them fall. Ching.
temple at
That's
that
why
moment.
that's why you shouldn't open your kundalini for just anyone.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a t-shirt.
I've heard so many different stories about the Kundalini opening, and it's how some people are saying like something weird happens and they start talking in weird
tongues
and then experiencing something that they've never experienced. I don't know. I don't know.
I had cool
This is
shit
just something.
happen.
Yeah,
It's
that
it's
happened
real.
with my wife, and she was sleeping, and I had a dream that there was a snake, and she talked about it on one of the podcasts. But I'm not going to go any further than that. The snake, but it was symbolic of something. She had just, I don't know if she had unlocked some kind of clairvoyant power. I don't know.
I believe there's something with it though, because in float tanks, 100% of the time, like right when I go to this lucid place, I used to think until I brought it up with friends, I've even said it on the show before, that I used to think like, oh, you know what bothers me though? It seems like right before I'm about to like go into this next phase, I feel like every time the filter turns on of the machine, and everyone's like, Chaney, there's no filter on the machine. And I would explain it like it sounded like I was sitting in the ocean with just your ears underwater and you heard like the sand underneath you move. And so it always just felt like a snake sliding underneath me in sand. And it like, oh, there was something serpent about when I was about to be in like meditative state that it was like, tss. I could hear it open up in myself. So,
You feel the energy.
yeah, but then it makes me like in that transcendental way, it makes me feel like if you're not taking up the space inside yourself, do you want to just leave it open for any entity?
Yeah. No. I
No.
mean,
Like that means you're
just
not
like
even present.
everybody wants their third eye open, but it's like if you haven't done enough of your shadow work, which is raising the kundalini,
Right.
raising the kundalini will open your third eye. But if you haven't done your shadow work and you're still traumatized and like in victim mentality, you are going to invite in all kinds of mental illness.
I
You're
know
gonna be
there's a
fucking
filter in
crazy.
the float tank, but it doesn't turn on like 15 minutes into your float. That's all I was saying. I know there's a
What if
filter. If there's not a filter in your float tank, don't float there.
What if these entities that you're meeting while you're taking these different substances, instead of like you going somewhere, you're probably going in within yourself and you're probably meeting these entities that live within these solar plexus? Like some people experience this purple woman,
Yeah.
some experience this green character, some people experience this blue character, and it's always those colors, and his colors are like tied together with the fucking solar plexus and all that. And I'm
Yo,
just
you're
like,
right.
what if those are the entities that I'm saying maybe they're jinn, or
Yo.
maybe there's something that creates us as a human being and we play these characters? Like, are we authentic? Or I don't know why I'm saying all this, but I don't know why it's making sense to me, but
No, it
it's
kind of
making
because
sense
even
to
if you
me.
think of every single one of the deities that you go to in the DMT or peyote realm, every
Yeah,
single one of them has a color feel
They do.
representation. And then the people that they talk to in these places, they talk about these color feel things. And so people even talk about sometimes to the certain point of getting enlightened in any of these drugs is that you hit the point of nothing. And that
yeah,
it's like they go through all the colors or meet one of the colors to walk them to nothing or go through two of the color. And I'm colors is very simple, but it's no matter the experience that I've ever had in my psychedelic experiences that have gone past just like, whoa, trip A around here.
yeah.
Every single one of the energies that I've been around, or I don't even want to say like uh energies, I'll just say people that things that I've been around, they all have heavy fucking color. Like except one. The foo dog, which for some reason I didn't believe in spirit guides then. It's weird for me to even say it now, but there was like a foo dog face that was like almost like kaleidoscopy, like where it almost didn't have color. It was like diamondy kind of. And that thing was the only thing out of everything that I've ever seen that like gave me a message or communicated with me that didn't just have this like, yeah, this goes in my like in the Sesame Street color box.
What the fuck? Then it was something different.
But
It wasn't this. Yeah, it wasn't the spirit
That's
of
what I was
a
going to
drug. It
ask
was
about salvia.
Which
What color is salvia?
Crazy
Plex would be salvia.
Have you
Would it
done
be
it?
the
We've been on
brain?
this obsession
It'll
about
probably
it.
be
Have
the
you been on
brain.
Crazy
salvia?
experience. Oh yeah, I was super young, and yeah, my friend turned into a plant. I remember it. My face like fell off onto the floor. There was a Bob Marley Zippo, and Bob Marley like came off the Zippo, was like hello, and well, it happened a few times, but it slowly. I just I don't know. I always had this uneasy feeling after doing it that I didn't really like, and it had a terrible aftertaste too. So, but you used to be able to buy that shit at the tobacco store, like the highest grade of it. Then it's sold by like 1X, 2X, 3X, or that was like the how it was.
There's a
packaged.
600. Either I think there's a 200. There's a 600X called Elephant Killer out there.
That oh wow, yeah, I don't know if I would do that again. Oh, well, maybe.
It's
Depends
weird
on
because even the
if
shapes
the
on the walls
environment was controlled. I don't
from
know.
Plato's Cave. This is art Thomas showed us like last week or the week before, and it's like this. There's a bunch of it. I wanted to find the one that he actually
That's pretty cool.
showed us.
They're all good. This is a perfect example too, where it's just
That's
the
so cool.
three-dimensional being forced into a two-dimensional experience.
And
And when Jules said his
creature-
face fell off, I feel that's the same
Yep.
thing, because your face falls onto, I would assume, a floor, which is a two-dimensional plane.
Flattening out.
Explain it to Jules right now since he's done it. Like quickly, like the concepts, even like this thing in the back here. Like
these
go
are
through it,
the
Thomas.
most
That was
common
so
motifs in the
interesting to
salvia
me.
trip, is that there's like a circus or a carnival feel to it, where they're like, you've walked in on some crazy party or some crazy like masquerade that you weren't necessarily invited to, and that the closer you get to it, the more your body starts to leave a three-dimensional realm and it becomes in 2D. And as you fight this experience as a three-dimensional being, that's where like you get this weird twisting or curving or swirling sensation. It's you like trying, because if you were a two-dimensional thing and you wanted to be 3D, you'd try to coil yourself, because that's how you would, turn 3D again. That's why people feel this way. And that's why you see these weird coiling effects. Here's another good example. Every single salvia visual usually has this weird spiral or coil feel to it.
That's fucking wild, man.
I don't think I could ever do this, man. Just watching this trips me out, and like it freaks me
I
out.
know. Yeah. I feel like I just did salvia.
I know. I wish I could find the exact one though. That I just
With
was
the
like,
thumbs.
yeah, where his arm was all the way down there. What was that one, Thomas?
It's on here. It's one of these
Let's
search results.
see.
I didn't do anything special to find.
Oh, okay. You just put in salvia art too.
Mm-hmm.
Nee. Anyways, yeah, I just think
Hello,
it's so
Mr.
interesting because
It
it's
is
like
very interesting.
all the other drugs seemingly push you toward 4D. And so that is an out of body, and maybe even like DMT and peyote get like 6D, where you're like, holy shit, because there is a point that I will say on DMT that they showed me almost a salvia land going by me fast. Like, and I call it Lisa Frank world. And I
Yeah.
actually play it on the end of the podcast. And because it was like one time I saw this gif of this like cat with rainbow eyes, and it made me have this sick feeling of like, right, like I felt like DMT was like, this is your ego, silly bitch. And it was just like fucking, but I feel like, so a lot of drugs are sending you this like 4 and 5D, whereas like Thomas is saying this is pushing you to the 2D. And so even there in the stack of just those exist. And then you get to experience those things.
And they're having a blast, by the way. Apparently in the 2D world is like just as fun as the 3D world.
It looks like
I
fun.
don't know about that. It looks
Colorful.
freaking. I don't know. I'm scared.
Well, for us, it's a little terrifying because like you have to like convert from 3D to 2D. That's probably a little bit scarier than going from 3D to 4D.
Oh, so
and then
you're
playing that
saying
from-
like the 2D entities look like they are having a blast.
oh yeah, like they have so
Huh.
much fun in that realm. Like it is undeniable. Like they are fish in water there.
So do you think, Abby, maybe this is where the machine elves exist?
It makes me
And they
wonder.
like
Yeah.
call you to like, hey, come do some salvia.
That's
And
what
we
I'm
don't see
wondering. Like almost like the idea of like how we talk about yellow jackets, how they're like, you know, almost like water finds the least resistance, or like death is a thing. It's almost, or like death isn't bad, it's just hungry. And so it almost just makes you wonder if all these drugs, it's not really up to you. The thing is an egregore powerful enough to decide it needs to be represented or looked at, and so it calls you to it.
So if 2D is that type of fractal, do you think the lower we go is actually the higher we go? Instead of it being the other way around? If 2D is that
I mean, there's got to be a limit, right? Like once you get to 1D, can you start going into negative Ds versus you can keep going up in dimensions?
Yeah, so is that the question lays then, so you have the light and the dark. So if you're going towards the light, you're going then the opposite way, you're going towards the dark. So that's technically the void. And I met the void, and that's where everything carries all of existence. It carries light. It makes light appear. So it holds
You met the
everything that
void?
is yeah, I met the void a few times in my
Oh
dreams.
shit.
And like it showed me existence, like how it creates it. But anyway, that's a different story.
Oh.
But so that probably is like on that quantum level of like the polar opposites in that sense. Maybe you're going in that realm of the void where it holds all of matter, antimatter.
Possibly.
Maybe you're going there.
Maybe that's what you need
And
the
they don't want us
600X
to go there?
for.
All right, I found the one I wanted to
know, I'm
look
just
at.
saying.
So it's this.
I'm just saying what comes to my head, you
No,
know?
you're
It's
good.
this one,
Sometimes it's interesting.
and it's this like guy, and he's sitting on the couch, and his like arm is all the way over here, getting
Oh
flat.
yeah, this has the other motifs too. So you've got the 3-dimensional being sucked into a 2-dimensional world. There's that spiral motif where he's fighting it. Then you've got the audience of these little creatures, like these little 2D guys that live here, and they're always having a blast. And like maybe they're scary, maybe they're like kind of fun, but they're always there. It's this audience, and it almost feels like a jury on some of these experiences. Like they're judging you for being there, and they're either on your side or they're like, "Look at this idiot." And then
Those
there's
are the
always
elves.
this person in a doorway. It's usually a woman for most people's experience, but that's when you usually see this like single person in a doorway. And that's almost what Layla's talking about, I think. Like, if you're ready to not fight this experience and get sucked into this vortex, you can alternatively go through this door. And once you go through that door, you're no longer in the carnival. Now you're like backstage.
Yeah, don't they talk about this with like tripping And like instead of like focusing on the whole thing, look at the space in between the fractal, the blackness, the void of it that holds all of that fractal or that whatever. And they say when you go into that, that's like not going into the light, going the opposite of the light. You know how they always say, don't follow the light, go the other way.
Yeah.
So it's like not even the other way, just don't go into the light, just go into the dark. And we, because of dark, it's so frightening. We never really think about that, even in a trip, to even like think to go there. But Chaney, you went.
Past the darkness.
You went into that dark
Yeah,
nothingness.
went
or
past the
it,
darkness. But yeah,
On DMT.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where
But
everything is.
I
That's the
think
mother of it
sometimes
all.
though, like somewhere there's a version like on a timeline, I just OD'd and really died. Sometimes I wonder when you get these like really big experiences, like when people are like, oh, I woke up on a new timeline or oh, Mandela effect. Sometimes I'm just like, you showed up on the wrong timeline. Like the machine elves, like, oh, they all notice you there, but everybody else doesn't notice because you look enough like you. But sometimes you're just like, who the fuck are these people around me? Or I just don't vibe with like what is happening at my job. Like you just feel like a stranger in your own existence.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like with certain drugs where I'm like, gosh, did you really kill yourself? And then you're just in this whole other reality.
You woke up in another reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Because I feel like everything changed, like to me about me at the core. But I also feel like in a really grateful way, like in my near death experience with life, I feel like because I had done psychedelics in my life when I was hallucinating before my near death experience, it was like my brain still had enough in there to be like, oh, you're hallucinating. And so I kind of feel like that's like it it preps you in a way.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad
Mhm.
thing for your brain to have some experience with the thing. Like, "Oh, is this DMT?" Like, you're hallucinating, but you only know you're doing that if you're doing that. And so much of my experience, I'm like, "Fuck, imagine this happening to like an 80-year-old Bible beater." They'd be like, "What?"
Bro, this is like the like someone that saves themselves for marriage and then they get married at like 40. I'm saving myself for death. I'm saving my best trip experience for the day I die. Thank you very much.
Not today.
That is a good point. I know, but imagine if drugs were calling you to them. Like even you plan your trip or like somebody ends up with it in their hand or you're just like on whim like I'm going to trip today. It's a random Tuesday. I'm going to do mushrooms.
I've done
Like you
that.
almost
I miss
wonder
those days.
Shrooms have to be called
well
too.
that's where it's like if mushrooms are calling you there and it is a sentient being is it trying to create an egregore in this in the 3D. So are these other drugs actually like dimensional where
Yeah,
they're
they're
trying to
talking to
create
each other.
something
They're
there.
like, I think I'm
The
gonna take
mice-
some Thomas today. I'm gonna
The,
snort a
the
little bit.
mycelium is contacting you. My wife talks about this all
It's
the
the
time.
biggest organism on the planet. So if there's some kind of we were talking about all this like group think of fish or sheep or wolves, this mycelium is kind of that as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And it talks to
Mm.
each other. Like the mushrooms will talk to each other and
Well,
talk about you.
apparently,
Talk
there's
shit
this
about you too.
technology now that I just saw today. I don't know if it's real or a fucking hoax, but it was pretty interesting. So they hook this tree up. Well, they can do this apparently. Hook the tree up to different sensors, the soil to read the pH, the different frequencies it emits, and all these gadgets. And he plugged it into the computer so it can translate all this information, and the tree can actually speak to you. So the tree is talking about like how it's not feeling the connection that it used to and share information with all of the trees around them. And it's talking about how the tree can't really communicate how it used to with all the other tree folks. So the only way that they seem to be connecting more now is the mycelium, and the mycelium is holding the communication together, but it's harder and harder for them because there's less and less of them, and especially the older ones. So
Yeah,
I feel like
there's this book called The Hidden Life of Trees, and it goes into the fact that they're all connected at the roots. So the reason why trees can't communicate now is that how many people propagate trees and like plant them in their yard. So those are not natural trees, but the trees that have already been there for 50, 70 years that have grown naturally in that area, they're connected still to the tree network, and they all communicate. But these trees that are brought in from other areas and planted in a spot where they're not native and they're not already a part of the tree root network, they can't communicate.
Do the trees communicate with the water?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
it seem like
probably does.
Yeah.
I think so. If it's that kind of energy and that intelligence.
Or
I
then we
think
were
so.
talking about too, like, there's certain sounds that they say like the birds make that makes the flowers open. Or there's certain, like I always joke around where I'm like, oh, it's gonna be hot. Do you feel the cicadas calling in the heat? Where it's like, oh, what if they do? Where it's like we don't know about these animals in this thing, but who knows what their sounds are actually like all chanting the same thing. Could they raise the temperature or something?
It's sound,
Someone
Chaney. You
just-
said the key word.
Someone said when I eat mushrooms, I turn into one. When my wife eats mushrooms, she ends up in a forest.
I do too. I turn into such
Yeah.
a little wood nymph. Like I would never
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
think about myself like that. I'm such a I'm just so in love with outside. Like I'm in love with outside. Like I've never
I
loved
get
a
like
human.
connected with outside, like not to sound crazy, but
Absolutely.
like I
Yeah, me
literally
too.
feel like I communicate with green, all the greenery. Like I
I
see
have
it's
thought in my head, oh, like whatever outside is, the wind, the trees, the everything. I've been like, you're flirting with me and I like it.
Yeah.
Like it has
You just
made me
made my
feel
nipples hard.
yeah, like, oh my gosh, I want to
wish I
just
could
listen to
like
music and hang out with you.
I wish I could like speak to a tree and like actually like it respond so I can like just tell me all the stories. Tell me
Remember when
everything
those
you've
videos
seen.
were going around where people were like, the trees would touch them slowly? It would go viral because somebody would be like, I'm gonna sit by a tree, and they'd pull it like, I don't know, I just pictured a person pulling the tree branch down like with their other hand, and they're like, the tree touched me. I don't know, maybe it was just my algorithm.
It was part of the new Me Too movement.
Tree too.
That's
Tree
how
too.
that's how I definitely feel on shrooms though. Like I had this experience where I
too.
swear the trees like shaded me from the sun because I asked them to. And like they gave me shade and I felt cooler after that because it was so hot. And I was too
After you
lazy and
come
too
up with
tripped out
talking
to even
tree, I
fucking
can't.
move.
I'm just imagining that Joe Rogan at some point is gonna have an interview with a talking tree now.
The dude from Lord of the Rings, Treebeard. Shout out Treebeard.
I'm a tree
All
hugger.
right. I would lay in one. I always wondered to what end where there's people are like, no, don't cut down this tree. But I don't know what their calling is. And like, we're even, like they don't have as many old trees. And then you think of like, what if like these trees, these enormous trees, like some of them were like grandmothers and great grandmothers, like the ancients, they were like the giants. And somewhere like, were they the titans that was taken down out of this realm? Like if you look in just the oldest pictures you can find of actual trees, it'll blow your mind. Just in like the
Huge.
late
Cry.
1800s.
They're huge.
Like,
So then it's like,
especially when-
imagine a big tree they were going to take down. And like just in a neighborhood, you see like a bird there thing. Like you're just like, gosh,
Squirrel. Family of
yeah,
squirrel.
it's kind of
like
wild.
leave the fucking trees alone.
Yeah.
Like I sound like
they're
a guy,
they're,
leave
they're
the
knocking
thing
down
alone.
trees
Like leave the
all
trees
around here
alone.
to build office buildings and shit. And it's really pissing me off, man. Like they're knocking out all
Real.
like
I
the country. I hate it. It makes me sad.
entity that we don't think as entities. They think they're just like, oh, they're fucking trees. No, they have an
If we destroy
intelligence
all
that
the trees,
y'all don't
we're
want to
cooked.
understand. Like,
We're
come
cooked
on,
if
man.
we destroy the trees.
Yeah,
We're
like
fucking
Bill
cooked,
Gates.
guys.
We don't need trees. With less
We can
trees,
make
better. Shut
artificial
the
trees.
fuck up. Like, I'm sorry. I love trees. Save the trees.
Leave the trees alone.
Leave
Yeah, leave
the
the
trees
trees alone.
Being a
Period.
tree and getting taken out is even worse than if you're
Motherfuckers.
like Genghis Khan or like some other ruler, because no one turns Genghis Khan into toilet paper, but would totally take like a grandmother tree and like, we're gonna turn you into toilet paper.
Would it be extra
Absolutely.
cruel? Okay, let's just say this. Like,
Just grow hemp.
we make a short and it's like a tree serial killer. But like, I was like, okay, trees, I'm gonna turn around and count to 100, and you guys got a head start. And then I turn around and count, and then when I turn back around, they're just still standing there where the trees are. Like they can't even
Oh.
run.
You just totally made me think of Wizard of Oz, though, with them like throwing the apples and stuff.
Yeah, they start throwing the. That's so creepy. That's such a
Yeah.
like traumatic thing. The trees are like, "Fuck you."
I just thought of the scene.
How'd you
I'm
feel
just
if I
going,
just came around and started
"One,
picking your apples?
2." The trees are all like, shit, we can't move. 3, 4, and they're all just like blowing in the wind.
I wish I could
The
just eat the
suspense.
wind, so I wouldn't have to eat animals. I wouldn't have to eat vegetables or kill anything that grows on this planet or lives on this planet, and just live off of air and sun. But no, we're not built that way, or were
You
we
could be
conditioned that way?
become a breatharian.
Yeah,
I
did
know,
food
but
become
is
an
that really a
egregore?
thing?
You
Yeah,
What's
were
an
just
egregore?
breatharian.
the sun.
That's an egregore.
Reminds
I
me
think
of
Layla
like
wants to be
SpongeBob.
part of the Aryan Nation. She just wants to eat
Something.
air.
Yeah,
The
the Aryan
breatharians
Nation.
live in air. Like they don't eat,
I
they
just don't
drink
want
water.
to kill
and air.
anything. I don't want to
I don't know if they
I
live
kill
long,
ants. I
but
didn't even realize I kill ants because I'm a giant to them. You see, I'm a Nephilim to them.
the ants.
I'm a Nephilim to a lot
But
of
see, even in
beings.
that little scenario, I have a video somewhere on my phone. If like I found it, I would upload it so we could watch. Even in that scenario, after Layla played with the ants a little bit, she was like, "I am your god, and I will be a good god to you guys."
Dude,
Like
no,
she
well,
brought
we
them
are
food and
gods
gave it
to
right to
these
them.
little bugs. We are gods to them. It's wild.
Yeah, I was feeding them. I was like, okay, here you go, guys. And then I put another one in another side. So they all went over there, and I opened their hole more so they can like get their food because there were big chunks into their like little home. I was like, see, I will not harm you guys. I love you guys. Here's the food. And it felt great. I
Unless
still
you piss
have
me off,
your
and then I'm
ant
gonna fuck
farm,
you.
but I still didn't buy the ants. I will eventually because I want to add to that. I want to make a huge ant farm in my shelving that I'm going to create in my room. It's going to be so cute.
I've had an ant farm. Like I love them. Like I can just like watch them. Like
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's more
Eating and
relaxing than
shitting
the
is
freaking fish tank. I feel like my fish tank. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I have to clean my fish tank. So not relaxing. Do you guys have anything going on this week that you want to plug before we fly out of here?
I'm gonna be on it's called Love, Truth, and Beauty with Mario West. So I think
nice.
It's pre-recorded though, but we're recording Monday.
Awesome.
That's
awesome. So you guys do make sure you follow Abbie. We repost it on X and IG and all your places.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do make sure you follow her so you can check out that interview. Anyone else? What is it, Layla?
Layla
What are you laughing
fingering
at?
the tree holes. Gosh, I love this show.
Do you have anything going on this week, Layla?
Oh, just
Anything you want
work.
the audience to help create an egregore about for you?
That I become a witch doctor, a witchy witch with all my herbs and my self
We
experiment.
get our audience involved in so many things. Who did we have them kill a few weeks ago?
I forgot. There was so many.
Val Kilmer, right?
Val Kilmer?
That was on accident.
That was an accident. We liked that.
We liked it. But we did talk about him the week before that. And sometimes it's like that's why being intentional is so important.
Sometimes you catch a stray, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Friendly
well.
fire.
It's America.
Yeah, but there was somebody else too. I feel like we talked about on our show and like the next day, something. But it is that it's like collective energy, and I feel like probably if you watch this show, you're a weirdo or
You're tapped in.
Yeah, so you're
to
attached to all
the
the
good guy's
things.
consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so
I'm going
we
on
kill
Forbidden
Betty White
Knowledge
around
News
here.
tomorrow morning with
Nice.
Chris That's going to be a good time. That's going to be on Patreon for about a week. And then me and Thomas are having Foundering on Sound Science at, I believe, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern.
And if you guys haven't checked that out, it is pretty fun. It's like a perfect time slot for that kind of show. Because I can get stuff done while I listen to it. And because you guys have music and stuff on it randomly or talk about stuff, I'm like, okay, it's just like a fun Sound Science is a weird one. So you guys should check it out. Because
Yeah.
you also find weird stories about people's favorite music.
Absolutely. No, it's one of my favorite shows that I do. Yeah, go to paranoidamerican.com/discount/graypilled for 10% off your purchase. Patreon.com, guys. I got a lot of good stuff going on there as well. A lot of good things coming. Stickers coming. Yeah. Got stickers on
Will
the way.
Olivia come hang out next time you come hang out?
Yes. I promise that she will. We've had a long day.
She can ahead of time on X. You can have her pick some weird topics that she wants to talk about.
She would have
Look,
fucking
she's gonna be
loved this
the amount
conversation.
OA came
That's
up
the thing,
tonight.
though, is like she would have loved this conversation. Oh
I know.
God.
I'm like, I can't. I know
Like,
she's a huge OA fan, so she would have been like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
I mean,
this."
she can talk about that for hours, yeah. But all the other stuff that we talked about, she would have loved it. So she's gonna be probably upset at me for no reason. Because I was like, hey, I'm out here and she's falling asleep. So, that's what it is,
It's
but
awesome.
but yeah.
Love you,
Yeah.
Chad.
Thank y'all for having me on, man.
Yeah, anytime.
I
For
love
real,
I love hanging
anytime.
out with y'all. We always have a good conversation, and yeah, it's fun.
It's always fun. We always
Yeah,
like
anytime you
fucking.
have anything you want to talk about, that was like perfect because we're like fly by the seat of our pants. So you're like, hey, we were talking, me and Abby were talking about egregores. I'm like, perfect, let's do it because I just think it's so interesting.
These
So
things
you're
happen at one time for a certain reason. I think like people get ideas of an episode that they want to do, and then they come across each other online or somehow, and they let's do it together, or let's do this deep dive or whatever. Me and Jose are doing deep dive on the Temple of Set this next week too, so everybody look out for
Say
that.
the weird
that's
thing.
awesome.
Say the weird
Oh, yeah.
thought. Just say it.
The
It
Great
might be like
Reset.
valuable.
It's an important thing for everyone to go into Set and like Seth and everything about that because I really think that is like the big ritual they
Typhon.
ran for all the
Yeah.
way from it's the Stand Your Ground with Trayvon Martin, where that was where they first took a knee, wore the black hoodie and chanted "No justice, no peace," which would be a set ritual. Like you would that he was chaos, so you would say "No
Absolutely.
justice, no peace," but you would obviously chant it in like Kemetic tongue at the time, but it's like curious to me. So even like the Great Reset, the Great Reset, the Great Reset over and over and over again on us. People
Isn't
never
that
think
kind
of
of
it in that way.
weird though when you get biblical? I'm sorry, like I know we're getting
Yeah,
ready to
no.
wrap this up, but when you're going
For
into
you, Abby, I
Adam and
mean, a
Eve,
goody for you.
I
So if you
know.
want to hang out, we're here.
But the whole Adam and
And for
Eve of it
me,
all with
yeah,
their, the Cain and Abel, but then their son Seth or Set, whatever, but
Seth.
same idea. He's
Yeah.
Seth, but I'm going with the whole set of it all.
Yeah,
But
and
Well,
if you
yeah,
look
the
at
it's the
Seth,
same
reset, that is a
always
reset.
etymology
He still
of
has
the
a reset.
name, right?
Yeah.
Like Seth is the same etymology of the name,
Yeah.
but that story of Set goes back to the story of in Sumeria of Marduk killing his youngest brother Dumuzi, Set killing Osiris, Cain killing Abel. It's this like ancient bloodline of this fallen bloodline
Same
that
story.
rings through antiquity. That's a whole nother show that we could do that we could go deep on. I think it'd be fun.
Fun. Thomas,
I'm glad Jules reminded me that in like 12 hours from now, come and hang out on Rumble because we can't really do it on any other station. We're gonna listen to some live music with Foundering, and if you don't know who Foundering is, you should go and follow him on Twitter. And musically, he is single-handedly bringing back a whole bunch of classic ragtime songs that have been lost for like a century, and he's the one guy that's actually finding old music and finding out how to play it and recording it and kind of like bringing, like not letting them die their second deaths, right?
And it has a conspiracy twist to it as well.
Right, yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's a
Like,
ragtime conspiracy theorist. So
it's awesome, man.
what else
Shout out
do you need to
Founder.
hear, right?
That is so fun. I even picture the whole songs in my head and like the way they sound and like the rewriting of some of those things. Like Howard Hughes was big on that. Like he made a whole movie and burnt every copy of it that nobody can find a copy of. So I think like
Yeah.
Very
all that
Toltec
kind
of
of stuff
him.
is
Well,
I think that's
Foundry
all
grew up
good.
as a hardcore kid too, so you know, you
That's
find
dope.
that a lot in you find that a lot in this realm
I
of
have
podcast.
been producing Club Maha for the last few months, and then I'm also helping out over on Tinfoil and Tokens, where they talk about crypto charts and conspiracy and stuff too. And I never know when I'm going to be on screen or have something to share. Like I usually get called on. So if you guys feel like checking out either of those shows, you can find those on X or follow the channels. I think there's channels on Rumble and YouTube as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the Secret Society of Good Guys tonight. Jules, thank you so much for coming to hang out and sharing all your awesome information.
Thank y'all for having me on.
And we will see you very, very soon. I'm like, oh yeah, what video am I playing? Oh yeah, turn your volume down because I'm looking at Juliette Lewis. Okay, bye bye.
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes Santa. Here comes the world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, makings, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, makings, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.